Hi everyone. Happy Tuesday. Wish VC face didn't take so long to open. Okay. Anyway, we're doing more Ace Attorney today. And hope we're gonna have a good time. I say I hope. You probably will, because this game's fun. Let me open it up. We'll swap over. Oh, there I am. Hi. There we go. Any second now. There we go. Okay. We're back. So, where were we in the story? Where are we in the story? Oh yeah. Our defendant allegedly stabbed a woman in the back, and all of our defenses are being shut down. It's not looking good for us. Okay.
I have considered the defense counsel's request for a further summation examination of the jury, and I have determined that the court must uphold the defense's judicial right to this procedure.
This summation examination saved us so many times.
So, counsel, you'll now proceed with your second summation examination. I presume the jury's ready, Mr. Foreman?
We are, my lord.
Very good. In that case, I must ask each of you now to state clearly and concisely for the court the grounds on which you find the defendant guilty of this crime.
Man, these jurors flip their opinion faster than a thing that flips. The accused left evidence at the scene, didn't he? There's 3 books of his. If there was some novel alternative explanation about how the victim was stabbed, I might reconsider. If the woman was throwing books, it can't be related to this crime if the window was closed, can it? Dearie me, it was only a little book, hardly life-threatening, even with a direct hit. Look, I just want to get this over with. If I don't bring home some pain, I'll be in a tiny bit of trouble.
Come to think of it, we had a fire at home a while ago. Gave me the sneezes. Yes, considerably more tangible arguments from a member of the jury this time around, it seems. With the one notable exception, of course.
My learned student friend was unable to find fault in the previous witness testimony. Why is that maid girl goals? So the court must accept the fact that it was indeed the accused seen fleeing from the scene. And moreover... Starting already with it. No one else was even at the scene of the crime to commit the crime.
Well, if the eyewitnesses are correct, it would seem as if the conclusion is somewhat set in stone. I fail to see how it can be argued any other way.
That means, I'm afraid, that during the summation examination, essentially you established some other tangible explanation for the facts. But how? What even constitute a tangible explanation here? Isn't it obvious? Who stabbed the woman, and how? Those 2 details are all you need provide. Simply give us a name and a method by which the attack was conducted. And there I was thinking this might be hard. Mr. Naruhodo, you have to do it. Otherwise this really will be where the trial ends. No pressure then.
That's quite enough preamble. Proceed with the summation examination, please. I presume you are prepared, counsel.
Oh, yes, my lord. Alright, Ryunosuke, focus your mind now. Slap yourself into place. Clearly, the key to the summation examination is going to be juror number 4, the maid, or should I say, Mrs. Garadeb. We have a book that disappeared from the Garadeb's house the evening of the incident, and the 4th book found the victim's hand. Must be able to link to 2. Yeah, that's what I have to find. Using every technique I've learned in my short career so far. Whatever it takes. Don't forget to keep an eye on Mrs. Garadeb and how she reacts, even to things other people say. Oh. Yeah, we are going to combine everything. Okay. Let's press. As we now know, there are 4 books, not 3.
Well, what difference does it make?
There's every possibility the 4th book, in fact, belongs to the defendant's landlord.
Yes, that's the part I have a problem with.
Sorry?
Well, at the point the woman was stabbed, the landlord fellow was at home, wasn't he? Enjoying a fiery scrap with his wife or something, you said.
That's not exactly how I put it, no.
Well, anyway, the point is the fellow and his wife were somewhere else when it happened.
I think that's what you call a strong alibi.
So couldn't have been the landlord who did it. Which only leaves the Nipponese fellow. Honestly, I can't see what all this palaver's about. It's a done deal, isn't it?
I suppose it is, since I've nothing witty left to say. If there was some novel alternative... Okay, here we go. Let's press this.
Hold it!
So, you might be willing to change your decision, you mean? Oh my, such delight on your face. But I'm afraid I shan't be swayed by emotion. Despite what you may think of me, I'm a very modern, metropolitan, and rational woman. That's great. If one reads the morning papers, it's all forgotten by tea time, isn't it? So why read them in the first place? You see, modern, metropolitan, and rational thinking, wouldn't you say? And not at all extreme. As I see it, an overwhelmingly suspicious Japanese man's been implicated by overwhelmingly strong testimony. So despite 1 or 2 minor puzzlements, I do declare the man's overwhelmingly guilty. Modern, metropolitan, and rational logic, wouldn't you say? Overwhelmingly. But us modern gals always like to embrace new fads, you know. So I'd be only too happy to consider an exciting new theory if you could come up with one. I'd be happy to do that too, if only I could. Let's do our very best not to disappoint the modern metropolitan young lady. Right, I'm glad you admitted rational there. Alright.
Hold it!
What about the possibility that the window was open? What about it? I mean, there's no just way it could have been. How can you be so sure? The prosecutor fellow over there said it earlier, didn't he? Winters in London are no joke. You don't want to invite that sort of cold indoors. So no, that window wasn't open. Us Londoners like sitting by the fire and staying warm, see? You couldn't categorically state the window wasn't open, could you? It just wasn't. They would have opened it. And what's the point of even having windows, huh? Got him there!
Counsel, you will kindly refrain from childish bickering.
Oh, sorry. Somehow need to show there's an undeniable possibility that the window was open. Because this young man is gonna budge otherwise.
Hold it!
But the little book was on fire at the time, was it not? The flames of love, I'll have you know. There's really no such thing as a loving incendiary bomb. Well, he brought upon himself. It's playing with fire to betray a fiery love, isn't it? Well, don't you agree? Oh, any kind of betrayal is certainly a bad thing, yes. But I think the argument might have arisen out of your misunderstanding, Mrs. Garadeb. Never you mind that. The point is, we're just having a jovial little dispute, nothing more. And I won't have any more of these suggestions. I wasn't anything whatsoever to do with this crime. Right. Well, we'll see about that. What about your number 5? He doesn't seem to be turning a hair, Mrs. Garadeb's relentless onslaughts. It's almost as though he's used to it. What a gentle soul he is! Yeah, with his fisticuffs raised. Gentle.
Hold it!
You just want to get this over with? How can you sit there and say something like that? A man's future's at stake here.
Well, him and me both then, like I said before.
What?
I told you already, I'm a day laborer, aren't I? If I don't bring home some Reddies with me tonight, you'll find me floating face down at the Thames tomorrow morning.
What?
You heard me. My missus doesn't want to mess about, you know. She can be fierce, believe you me.
Another shining example of marital bliss, then.
Situation like this cropped up the other day. It was, well, You know, it's funny, but I can't quite remember.
Sorry?
It was too frightening, that's the thing. Must have blocked it out.
helpful. I wonder if Mr. Beat would ever be dragged into the Thames by his scarf. Don't even go there, Mrs. Sato. Must be some way to jog his memory about this.
Come to think of it, we had a fire at home a while ago.
Gave you the sneezes. Does that have anything to do with your decision about the defendant's culpability in this case?
Sorry, what's that? You'll have to speak up, lad.
Could you tell us more about that fire?
It was last winter. My grandchildren baked me a lovely cake on my birthday. Had 75 candles on the top, it did. What a sight behold it was.
You put candles on a cake? Was it some kind of devil worship? Oh, right, this is pretty far back in time.
Of course not. It was an angel cake to celebrate my birthday, obviously.
Seems that's a common custom here in Great Britain, Mr. Naruhodo.
Anyway, I mustered all my puff to blow them out. Only I must have blown wrong somehow. The flames didn't go out, but candles went flying all over the room. The furniture caught and everything went up. The whole place filled up with smoke.
Definitely sounds like devil worship to me. And by the sneezes, I presume you mean a cold. How'd you catch a cold from fire?
What a fiasco it was. The grandchildren, bless them, threw water over me as they tried to put out the flames. And then, because the whole room had filled up with smoke, of course. We had to open all the windows to clear it.
The windows?
The biting winter air rushed over me like the devil dancing on my grave, it did.
Ah, so the windows... That's probably going to link it to. Windows open because of the fire.
Caught a terrible cold from it. Put me in the hospital for a while. Won't forget that birthday in a hurry.
I knew it was devil worship all along. Something about this old man's story is playing in my mind for some reason. We need to demonstrate who, apart from Mr. Natsume, could have attacked the young woman on the street. As well as how he, or she, could have done it. And once again, the jurors' statements are full of personal prejudice. All of them seem convinced they're right, even in the face of logical arguments to the contrary. I think we would need to pit them against each other to force them to accept an alternative explanation. Yes, not necessarily need to find contradictions between their assertions, just a connection might do the trick. Alright, see what I can do. If anything stands out, I'll go in for a strike. So the old man and... Here we go. This is what we do.
Objection!
These two juror statements clearly contradict one another.
They do? How exactly, counsel?
Don't point at me again. I told you it wasn't me.
What's that you say? Speak up, lad. Speak up.
Juror number 3. You see? Oh, me? See what, sir? Here, juror number 6's account of his birthday celebrations last year. It seems, despite being a Londoner, he once opened his windows in the middle of winter. Well, yes, of course, because of an emergency. I mean, obviously, if the room was filled with smoke from a fire, then you'd be mad not to open the... Gotcha! Oh! Exactly. On the day in question at the time of the incident, there was a fire in the Garridub household. Mr. Garridub had the following to say about it. The whole place filled with smoke. Oh, my hat! Hello, excuse me.
Excuse me.
Juror number 4. Do you have something to say about that? Oh my god, she's at it. She's going at it. Mrs. Garrideb! Oh, dearie me. What is the meaning of this? How dare you imply that I'm hiding who I really am? It's imperative you confirm something for the court. So please, it's time to drop the pretense now. What is it? The fire started in your house that day. Did you or your husband open the window? What? I beg your pardon? What are you insinuating? The room would have been thick with smoke after the carpet and bookcase caught fire as they did. A situation like that, it's inconceivable he would have opened the window. And what if we did? Oh, all right then. Yes, you're right. My husband was frantically trying to open the window, which can't have been easy since I continue to give him a justly deserved book battering. Even though your house was on fire? Oh, you never stop throwing until the anger subsides. It'd be terribly bad for the nerves to do otherwise. Of course, I should have realized. That's a significant step forward, Mr. Naruhodo. You managed to establish that the window was open. You simply must have to add to Mrs. Gyarado's formal statement. Oh boy. I guess we could try pressing this again.
Hold it!
Fourth book found the scene of the crime shows very obvious signs of fire damage. The title of the book is The Lion's Pride. The same title, in fact, as the book that Mr. Gyarados told us he'd been reading. Well, I really couldn't say. On the day in question, did you or did you not throw at your husband the copy of The Lion's Pride that he had been reading? I did. It was the first thing I could lay my hands on, so I hurled it straight at him. And now you come to mention it, yes. He was rather enjoying reading it, you're right. Why'd you not reveal this information in the court from the outset? Because I couldn't, you instant little man, I didn't remember. At times like that, you pick up and throw whatever you can lay your hands on, as well you know. I really don't. I barely noticed I was throwing a book, much less the title of it. Sir? Oh, look at that stance.
Excuse me.
What is it, juror number 5?
You know something? I've remembered what it was. The memory had blocked out.
Ah.
It was listening to what this granny was saying. Brought all flooding back.
Who are you calling a granny, you cheeky devil? I'm Mrs. Gyarados, or the maid, I'll have you know. The man doesn't even flinch. Please tell me it's not because he's so used to being hit all the time.
It was 2 weeks ago now. Just got back home from work, like. Put my hand in my pocket for the wages I just earned that day, and I nearly died. There was a hole. Every last penny dropped out.
Oh dear, what a disaster.
You haven't heard the half of it, boy.
Oh?
The wife was cutting up some chicken at the time. I could hardly get the words out, but I told her straight. I've lost the day's wages, love. Next thing I knew, the blade was whistling past my ear. Stuck in the wall next to me, it did. About an inch deep.
Oh. No words, just terror.
I could smell it then, you know. That god-awful stench of the Thames. I was sure I was gonna end up face down in the muddy banks that night, I can tell you.
Now, that's a real disaster, isn't it? I'll never use the word lightly again.
Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is this. When women lose their rag, they'll throw anything at you. Knives, hatchets, hammers, you name it.
Mr. Naruhodo, you mustn't think that all women are so short-tempered and unrefined. No, I wasn't thinking that. Throwing household objects at people is, well, it's so uncivilized. At least attack with honor, using a bow or the like. What? Attack? You're going to attack. Never mind. Anyway, this man's words could be rather significant, I think. Alright, we'll come back to the bow and arrow thing later. If I dare. Do we do this? I guess.
Objection!
Those two statements clearly have a deeply significant connection.
Good grief, you mean they don't contradict each other? Explain, counsel, at once.
Juror number 2. Do you think perhaps that this could be one such novel alternative? Oh my, whatever do you mean? An alternative explanation as to how the victim was stabbed in the back?
What are you talking about?
This is a big stretch. Oh. Are you really going down this path, Ryunosuke? This is a big stretch. Oh. You demonstrate the fourth book, The Lion's Pride, that was found at the scene of the crime, originated in Mr. Gyarados' room on the top floor of his house. Therefore, it's equally possible that some other object besides the book could have found its way from the Gyarados household to the street below. This is a bit... Mr. Fantastic would be jealous of that stretch.
Yeah? What's that now?
After all, Mrs. Garrett could have thrown any number of different objects at her husband. Isn't that right, juror number 4? What are you insinuating now, you little beanpole? Beginning to think that ever since the true origin of this book came to light, perhaps she's had a feeling this might be what happened.
Now you listen here, you Eastern Gala. The form of this jury demand a straight answer. You give us this yarn about some other object making its way out of the house, but what? What was it?
I'm gonna take a big gamble here, and a big and a big stretch. That's a bold accusation to make, but I have any real evidence to back it up. I'm certain, at the very least, this warrants further investigation. Alright, Mr. Foreman, I'll try to explain the defense's theory. The other object that found its way from the Gyardo household to the scene of the crime was... I mean... Let's take a look at this again, just in case. Just examine the knife in general. Nope, guess not. I guess...
Take that!
Turn number 4, Mrs. Garadeb. What? What now? I must apologize in advance for this. But I need you to confirm something else for the court. This knife. Have you ever seen this knife before?
Good Lord, Counsel, what on earth are you doing? That's the weapon that was lodged in the victim's back, man!
My lord, remember that when the victim was attacked, Mr. and Mrs. Garadeb were in the throes of an argument. Mrs. Garadeb was hurling anything she could at her husband, who had been backed up against the window. One that had been opened to clear the smoke, through which a book had landed at the crime scene.
You can't seriously believe that! The book was out in the victim's grasp!
Are you saying it flew out of the window and across the street to land neatly in her hand?
Even my missus can got a name like that.
Yes, I admit there are many details we don't yet understand. That's the point. That's precisely why. We must not allow this trial to end. Not right now. Oh my. Mrs. Garadeb, your answer, please. Have you seen this knife before or not? She says no and the game ends. No! Oh. Ma'am? My lord, I wish to change my decision. I'm a woman of my word, after all. Thank you, madam.
Yes, I agree. I certainly didn't see this coming, but... I just don't think it would be right for this trial to come to an end now. So many unanswered questions.
Mr. Foreman.
I'd have to agree. Not that I think the granny did it, mind.
Yes, you know what? I'm not quite happy about this at the moment either.
All together now, ladies and gents.
Hey, that's enough. Trial continues. We did it. Oh, congratulations, Mr. Naruhodo.
So, as a result of the defense's summation examination, a number of jurors' leanings have changed.
This is still the most convoluted jury system I've ever seen. Granted, I haven't seen many, but this seems a lot.
2 jurors called guilty against 4 now calling innocent. Accordingly, the opinion of this court is divided. And this trial will continue.
Oh. Our prosecutor friend's gonna have a field day with this. He's gonna be like, are you stupid?
Now then, Lord Van Zeeks, how's the prosecution wish to proceed?
More wine.
This trial is rapidly descending into a farce.
Pour that into his chin, not his mouth.
Like a corked wine. The first few sips are bitter enough. But what follows is so repugnant it's good for nothing save the gutter. If I may, Lord Van Zeeks, the defense has just put forward a credible alternative explanation for what happened. Credible? Is that your considered opinion, Mr. Foreman? The defense's argument is a joke to which I barely know how to respond, but let me start by insisting. You must all familiarize yourself better with the relative positions of those places being discussed.
What do you mean by that? What's his angle this time? His angle is the angle at which he could have thrown something out that window. Let's look at the map.
It's already more than apparent that between the crime scene and the Garrett household runs a rather wide street, Briar Road. Which means that the distance from the Garrett's house to the scene is some, 15 yards.
Let me see. 15 yards? That's around 14 meters. 14 meters? Oh, that's a little farther than I imagined. Unless Mrs. Garrett has quite the throwing arm. Oh boy.
And as you, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, rightly noted as having portentous significance, the fourth book was found in the victim's clutches. In other words, the smoldering book, wantonly hurled by the lady of the house, traveled some 15 yards, to land on the opposite side of the road, neatly between the collapsed victim's fingers and thumb. Is that your final conclusion, my learned and deluded friend? And did the jackknife follow a near-identical trajectory to plunge into the middle of the victim's back? This fantasy is somewhat stretching the notion of having a bad day for the victim, I think. Even those pathetic serialized detective stories have more believable plots.
Oh, yeah. We've been, Our defense, like... Our defense has been run on duct tape and a wish and a dream and... Yeah, there's nothing I can say to that. That prosecutor loves the sound of his own voice. Mrs. Sato, serialized detective stories are pathetic, are they? How dare he? Maybe let's pick our battles here. My lord, might I be allowed to speak?
As judicial assistant, you may speak for the defense. Yes, go ahead.
The prosecution may consider the idea of fantasy. What the defense's posture was believable enough to persuade the jury to change its leaning. And as such, the court has a duty to explore its alternative explanation as thoroughly as possible. And he's gonna call the jury stupid again, I bet. To that end... Juror number 4, Mrs. Joan Garrett, must be called to testify and submit to cross-examination. Can you do that if she's on jury?
Saints alive! A cross-examination of a juror?
Yeah, can that happen? I mean...
Order! Well, this is highly irregular. It's unprecedented for a member of a jury to be summoned to the witness stand. Objection!
Oh god.
And unnecessary. Lord Van Zeeks! There are already witnesses in the stand whose testimony the defense may further cross-examine. If my learned friend's farcical theory has any truth in it, then both a burning book and a jackknife must have flown through the sky before this couple's eyes. You must assume they would be able to testify accordingly. What say you, witnesses?
Wake up, man.
Yes, sir! Constable Rolly Beat reporting for duty, sir! Uh-oh. Well, good morning, officer. Sorry for dozing until now, sir. I haven't slept for a month on account of a villain who's appeared on my beat, sir.
Oh, they're so heroic, these London bobbies.
Patricia, my darling, I've been neglecting you, but no more.
Oh, Rolly, my hero, you make me swoon.
Very well, I hereby reject the defense's request.
Oh.
And order the witnesses in the stand to testify again. State forthwith before the court any details pertaining to the offense's alternative explanation of events. Yes, sir!
Oh boy, this is not going to go well, is it? Constable Beat's report.
This case has nothing to do with Mr. and Mrs. Garrideb. Believe me, London Bobby is good for his word. You see, sir, the windows on the top floor of the Garrideb house are top-hinged casements.
Obviously, if anything had been thrown out of the window, we would have seen it. I did leave the scene to go and fetch help, but my trusty Rolly was there to make sure nothing was disturbed.
I didn't take my eye off the crime scene for one moment, sir. Nothing strange to report on that front, sir.
Oh, we are screwed.
Well, this is quite startling. Top-hinged casement windows. That detail was not in the police report, Constable.
Yes, sorry about that. I must have been a little drowsy.
You cannot excuse your sins of drowsiness every time, Constable. No, sir!
Sorry, but... You gotta go? Well, thank you for stopping by, Melon. Appreciate it. Hope you have a good rest of your day. What exactly is a top-hinged casement window?
And you cannot excuse your ignorance of such trite remarks, my learned friend.
Of course. Sorry. I found it, Mr. Naruhodo. Cast your mind back to the windows of Mrs. Garrideb's room. Alright, I'll try. Visualize it in your mind. I'm putting my fingers to my temples. I can't gesticulate that part. Just imagine. So the window opens in order to allow air to circulate into the house. But it's a top-hinged casement window. It swings open along the upper edge, you see.
I'm glad you've rectified your ignorance. The casement window's most prominent feature is its stay, a metal bar which prevents the window from being opened beyond a certain amount.
It prevents an opening? This is all news to me.
Absolutely correct, sir. In other words, if a book or knife would have been thrown through the open window, it would have clattered against the pane and fallen straight down the pavement below.
No.
You see the problem then? Good. Your education in Windows is complete.
Oh, that's a good line. Your education in Windows is complete.
There's never any possibility of either the book or the knife traveling 15 yards over the road. That is, unless the window pane had been shattered, something we've discounted already.
That can't be. Did you see that, Rolly? That young Japanese man just collapsed in agony. Oh yes, my darling, I saw it. I saw how he crumbled before me. Oh, Rolly, you're so strong. My God, how's this happening? We haven't had a solid case for ourselves this entire time. We've literally been like bottom of the barrel looking for anything to go off of. We haven't had a solid lead this entire case. Haven't even started the cross-examination yet, and already my argument's been destroyed.
Gotta do something with this. Counsel, if you could drag yourself upright again, the court awaits your cross-examination.
There we go. Come on, Ryunosuke. Oh, my lord. Oh, good. Another desperate situation. Alright. Constable Beats report.
Hold it!
How do you say that for certain?
A very good question, sir. And the answer is this. As the noble founding principles of the force written on it, reminds you all as policemen of our sworn duty.
He shows that before, didn't he?
Did he?
Can't say I remember.
To patrol the streets of London town and uphold the peace of the common man. That's what the job's all about. And that is why I can stand here today beside my long-suffering wife and tell you Bobby's good for his word. While rubbing my tired eyes admittedly. Sir!
Oh, Rolly, you're so manly.
Of course I am, my darling Patricia.
Oh, Pat. Oh, Rolly.
God. These guys need to stop.
No, none of this is what I meant. But how can you say for certain that this case has nothing to do with Mr. and Mrs. Garrideb?
Ah, I see, sir. You should have said so earlier, sir.
Yes. Well, so could you answer the question? That was a waste of time, then.
Absolutely, sir. I'll to the fullest of my abilities, sir. There's a surprising reason why Mr. and Mrs. Garrideb's domestic dispute can't be related to this case. But before I get into that, sir, just one thing.
But yes?
I'd very much like you and all your countrymen to understand the great British institution of Scotland Yard. So I hope you'll take back some tales of us London bobbies and how we uphold our guiding principles.
I wasn't planning on going back just yet. I've only just arrived here.
So to that end, sir, I'd be happy to lend you my warrant card for your perusal. But I must warn you, you won't be able to get it through without shedding a few tears.
Thank you, I'll try. Hey, let's read this. Like right now. Let's read the warrant card. Examine. Okay. Policemen will strive to preserve the peace that is allotted beat. Patrolling officer expected to walk 20 miles around his beat every day for the furtherance of community relations. Item 1. Any crimes fall under the jurisdiction of the beat in which they are discovered. When a crime is discovered on his beat, policemen must assist with initial investigations and help detectives. So, I'm guessing they were on the beat, on his beat.
Hold it!
But you mean they'd open fully, is that correct?
Yes, sir. They're just there to allow a bit of air through the house, you see, so they're restricted as to how much they open. And therefore, anything thrown out of the window from inside the room would simply strike the pane and fall to the street directly below. For clarity, allow me to mark the map. Here is the location where objects would have fallen. Yes, directly opposite the scene of the crime, on the other side of the rather wide road.
It's been so hard for someone to mention this top hinge casement thing before. Well, I have another question for you, Constable.
And what would that be, sir?
How do you even know? How would you have any idea what sort of windows Mr. and Mrs. Gairdup's house is furnished with?
Ah, well, sir, that's very simple. You see, I helped with the investigation yesterday.
Oh?
Excuse me.
Do you have something to add, Mrs. Beat?
Sorry?
You look, well, delighted. Is there some particular reason for that?
Oh, I was just remembering. That's all. We really were so lucky.
Lucky? What do you mean?
Well, of course I feel terrible for the poor woman who was attacked. Don't misunderstand me, please. But we were just so lucky it didn't happen on Rolly's beat.
Oh, hey! It wasn't on his beat, so it's not his jurisdiction. Well, bam! Got him. Oh, I hadn't realized.
Oh yes, that's Street Briar Road. That's the boundary between Rolly's beat and the next one. Isn't that right, my love?
Constable Beat! Oh my god.
Huh? Oh, yes, that's right. That's the reason I was helping out with interviewing the occupants of the Gairdub household yesterday. The house is on my beat, you see, sir.
It really was cutting it close then.
Constable, I wonder if you could clarify something. The Gairdub household's on your beat. Does that mean the pavement next to it is as well?
Outside Mr. Gairdup's house?
Yes, ma'am.
The pavement on that side of the road is part of my beat.
I see.
I was unaware of that.
Just think, the woman been attacked just on the other side of Briar Road. We would never have been able to go for that meal to celebrate our wedding anniversary. But that's the life of a bobby, after all.
Extraordinary people are bobbies, tirelessly working for the benefit of all Londoners.
Do you know what I think? I think it was the good Lord's way of rewarding my Rolly for his hard work. Don't you think so, my darling? That must be it, Pat, my love. That must be it.
I think perhaps we should make sure we have that information officially on record.
Leave it to me, Miss Naruhodo. Take care of it immediately.
Hey.
And now it's my turn, I think.
Let's just press this just in case there's more. According to my notes here, the sun had got down already. It was dark.
Oh, but Furley and I were strolling along, gazing at the night sky and looking for our lucky star.
I'm sorry?
The star that will guide us to eternal happiness.
Can it guide you to answer the question? If a flaming book had cut across the sky in front of us, it would have lit up like a shooting star. And if I'd seen a shooting star, I would have made a wish upon it. That Rolly be an inspector, I would have said. 3 times at least. Of course, with the smog and everything, couldn't actually see any stars. In short, are you trying to say that neither a book nor a knife crossed the sky before you? Yes, sir, that is correct, sir. Shows the night sky in London is starless, sir. Certainly seems like they're telling the truth. And then we saw the poor woman fall to the ground, so we ran straight over to help her. Did leave the scene to go and fetch help, but my trusty Rolly was there to make sure nothing was disturbed. It's not his jurisdiction, though.
Hold it!
You said that you went to a nearby police box to fetch another officer. Is that right? That's right, yes. If I'd been on Rolly's beat, I would have known exactly where I was going, of course. Don't feel bad, my love. You can't be expected to know the location of every police box and every beat. So Rolly told me the way. Only, I sort of got a little lost on the way. Patricia, my darling, that's why I love you. Your terrible sense of direction is bewitching to me. That sounds like a weird reason to love someone, but... Sure, go on. Go on, I guess. Oh, please. So I suppose I was gone for about 15 minutes. But like I said, my Rolly was at the scene the whole time, making sure nothing was disturbed. I was off duty at the time, of course, but a true Bobby's never really off duty, sir. They take my eye off the crime scene for one moment, sir. Nothing strange upon that front, sir.
Hold it!
Nothing to report. That's correct, sir. Had my eyes wide open the entire time. Never looked away for a second. No one else approached the scene. Nothing was removed from it. I can swear that the odds honor, sir. Really? That seems a little strange. Beg your pardon, sir. Strange, sir. Seems altogether regular to me. This burnt copy of the line Pride was originally in the Gerda household. The question remains, how did it find its way in the hand of the victim? Shed any light on that, seeing as you were at the scene of the crime the entire time? Aha! Could be a different copy, sir. One just happened to be burnt as well. I guess? If that were possible, why would the victim have been gripping a book like that in her hand? You can see from the photographic print, she had a bag over her shoulder. Well, sir, that book was in Lay's hand from the moment we arrived at the scene. Is that so? There's something about this statement that's not sitting right with me. Too much how that knife ended up in her back, and how the book ended up in her hand. Must be some common thread between them. Can I ask you something? Please, Mr. Lawyer, sir. Oh, yes, of course. What is it? You're doubting us, aren't you? I can tell. What? I wasn't really... I mean, what's she doing? Please, just because I'm a woman doesn't mean my testimony is less valuable. You might just see me as the wife of a policeman, but I'm a woman, my word I am. I really don't remember ever suggesting that I doubted you. No excuses. I don't want to hear it. My voice will be heard. My lord, you'll let me speak, won't you?
Yes, Mrs. Beat, I'll allow you to supplement your testimony if you so desire. Sometimes the path of least resistance is the sage one.
That's a very loud mutter.
I heard that!
The Japanese man thinks a policeman's wife's word counts for nothing, does he?
Well, watch out, sir. I might
Let you get away with something like that, but my Rolly won't.
Duly noted, Mrs.
Beat. Please humbly ask you to continue. What could she possibly be about to say, I wonder? This gonna be the thing that does it? Your sense direction's a little off, huh? Mrs. Beat, nobody's questioning what you've told us. I saw it, I did, that evening, I saw it clearly! Well, at least unmap the whiskers and the funny curved back slinking away from the scene. Huh. And I know what I didn't see as well. I didn't see any flaming books or knives flying through the sky. All very clear. You also mentioned something about having a poor sense of direction. Oh, yes, well, that's a little embarrassing, really. I'm always ending up the wrong place when I've made arrangements to meet Rolly. He ever gets ever so cross. Does he get cross? Let's find out.
Excuse me.
Constable Beat, is there a problem? Nope. No, sir, no problem, sir. Did your wife's remark just now bring something to mind, perhaps? Oh, well, in a way, sir, yes, sir. I was just remembering that the same thing happened that evening is all. You mean Mrs. Beat lost her way on the night of the incident? Well, you see, I sent her off to find a police box the next beat over for mine. But she was gone a fair bit longer than I was expecting. Thought she'd be back inside 10 minutes, but my darling was gone a good 15. Oh, Rolly, you're such a tease. But the reason I was so long is because of the bouquet, silly. The bouquet? Sorry, what bouquet are you talking about? Oh, it was a present for our wedding anniversary. Rolly's so romantic. He saved up for the farthings, her pennies he found in the gutter while doing his rounds. Ew. That's... Yes, how romantic. I'd forgotten all about it till just now. Had you, my darling? Oh, yes. But that was just between us. No talking about to anyone else, darling. You have to promise... Really? Oh. What was that all about? Constable B looked very obviously troubled during the exchange. I'm afraid I can't offer any useful insight, Mr. Naruhodo. But I'm quite sure of one thing. You have to ask Mrs. Beat about the bouquet. Mrs. Beat, this bouquet you just mentioned. I'd like to add details about to your testimony, please. Oh, really? Yes, I'd love to. Alright, let's hear about the bouquet. You mean you dropped the bouquet at the scene of the crime? Yes, that's right. Oh, I was so upset. When we ran over and saw it was just a woman with a... It was a woman with a knife on her back. I was so shocked I dropped the bouquet Rolly gave me. It was in a dark spot where the street lights weren't casting any light, so I didn't notice it at first. And then you went to the police box to report the policeman whose beat it was on? Yes, I came back to the scene together with the other constable, you see. That's when I spotted my bouquet again. But the funny thing was, when I went to pick it up, it was nowhere near the victim's body at all. In case you need reminding, Mrs. Beat, the victim is not deceased. I was all flustered for a moment before I heard a voice calling from the other side of the road. Your husband, presumably. That's right, silly me, I'd gone over to the wrong side of the street. Although I'm going to blame the bouquet this time. I can't think how it got there, I really can't. So the bouquet somehow moved from one side of Briar Road to the opposite.
Curious indeed.
Isn't it? But the worst of it is I forgot to pick up the bouquet again when we left the scene. That beautiful rose Rolly bought me, and that change from the gutter he spent so long collecting. By bouquet, do you perhaps mean this sorry, solitary rose? Oh, yes, that's it. That's the bouquet Rolly bought me for our anniversary, with old bits of change he found in the gutter. Maybe we just call it a rose.
Tell us, Lord Van Zeeks, where did you come by the flower?
According to the report by the police officer in charge of the crime scene investigation, it was found on the edge of the pavement in front of the Garadeb household. In front of the Garadeb's house? Although it wasn't noticed until the morning, as it lay where the street lamps cast no light. So they were on the side of the street by the house. That changes things, I think. It was believed to found of no relevance to the case, as it was found on the opposite side of the thoroughfare. Oh, thank you, sir, thank you. Can I have it back now, please?
No, I think for good measure this rose should be added to the court record as evidence.
Oh. Cool. But it's a symbol of our love. I want it back after the trial. Do you hear me? I want it back.
Good grief. Rest assured, do my very best not to forget, Mrs. Beat.
Let's take a look at that rose, I think. Let's take a look at the rose. Examine. It's very stylish paper the flower's wrapped in, isn't it? It's just an old newspaper, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, I suppose because I'm not used to seeing English print. Looks so exotic to me. I see. Is something wrong? Oh, no, I was just thinking that if you wrapped a stone-baked sweet potato in your newspaper, it might look some sort of fancy cake. Sasada-san, I do love your cakes. An English rose. Such a beautiful flower. This is a rose, is it? Never seen one before. Do you not take an interest in flowers, Mr. Naruhodo? I wouldn't say that exactly. I do know 3 types at least. Gosh, 3? Yes, plum blossom, peach blossom, and cherry blossom. Perhaps you should consider branching out? Learning some of the art fruit tree based, for example? Branching out? I don't know if that was intentional. It probably was. Oh, Mr. Naruhodo, what do you make of all this? Yes. The whole idea of an invisible attacker has been troubling me all along. I believe I'm starting to get a picture of what really happened here now. The 4th book that had no business being at the scene of the crime. Made me sure that Mrs. Garrett was hiding something from us. It's becoming increasingly clear that someone else has been hiding something from us as well. I think I may already be armed with everything I need to strike a decisive blow here. This time, it's going to expose the whole truth about this mysterious affair. Like, I have ideas, but I don't know where exactly to put them. First 2, can't do anything with. This one probably can't. Let's press this again now that we have the rose. Can you drop the bouquet at the scene of the crime? Okay. Wait. Examine. Well, I'm thinking that, like, the body wasn't part of the constable's jurisdiction. That's one thing.
Hold it!
Do I go for the last statement and say that it wasn't his jurisdiction to do it? Or do we like go for the newer stuff? Can we, like, examine this more? I don't know if we do this here, though. Well, we definitely do this one. We do it in this one, maybe. Well, worst case scenario, we lose a thing.
Objection!
Yep. Okay, we don't do it there. But I'm pretty sure that it wasn't his jurisdiction, maybe. But where and when, then? We can try pressing this again. I don't know. I don't know what to present. I don't know. She dropped it where she stood. And it was on the opposite side of the street from the victim. Okay, these aren't going to show the bouquet, I think. Yeah. Check the history.
Hold it!
Alright, since we... Maybe I should try repressing some of the other ones. Okay, let's go through the history of this again, just to double check the exact wording of some of this. And over in Salzman with knife back, I was so shocked I dropped the bouquet roll it gave me. It was in a dark spot. Okay, I can see together. It was nowhere in the victim's body at all. Wait, so Rolly was on the west side of the street and not the east. Wait, what? What? Let's try repressing this.
Hold it!
I don't want to have to look this up, but I'm unsure of what exactly, because I get, Ooh. I guess I will have to look it up or something, because I'm actually stumped. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay, I did look it up. Nothing strange on that. So we're gonna present the bouquet here. Because, yeah, the bouquet... Yeah, this is weird.
Objection!
Guess we'll find out what this means, because I couldn't figure this out. You claim, Constable, there's nothing to report in the 15 or so minutes you're guarding the scene. But that cannot be. What do you mean to say? In your testimony just now, Mrs. B, you explained to the court that when you arrived back at the scene of the crime with the policeman assigned on that beat, the bouquet you dropped at the victim's side was no longer anywhere nearby.
Objection.
Yes, on the opposite side of Briar Road to where the victim was attacked. But considering the size of that meager bouquet, if a single sorry bloom can be so described... Oh, sorry. No doubt it was blown in the wind across the street back into the gutter where it belongs. Meager?
Objection!
If that were the case... why did Constable Beat not testify to the fact? So nothing changed. Now let's approach the scene, nothing is removed from it. Constable Beat swore to that on Scotland Yard's honor. But the bouquet belonged to me, has nothing to do with the case. That's why Rolly didn't mention it, I'm sure. No, because sadly, it's not only your bouquet we're talking about here. More than one thing in this case is mysteriously the wrong way round. What are you talking about? Think about it. Beside Mrs. Beat's bouquet, and Mr. Gerardeb's book. Mr. Gerardeb's copy of the Lion's Pride, which was thrown out the window by his wife, would have struck the pane of the casement window and landed here, on the west side of the street. And yet... it was actually found here on the opposite side of the road, in the victim's hand. Meanwhile, according to the testimony we've heard, Mrs. Beat's bouquet should have been dropped here at the scene of the crime, on the east side of the street. But in fact, it was actually found here on the opposite side of the road in front of Mr. and Mrs. Gerardeb's house. What if the street just rotated? There's like a mechanism below the street that just rotates it. It's gonna be something stupid like that. Although that would be more like Professor Layton or something. Still, there's no logical explanation for these things. Unless somebody deliberately moved them. What are you trying to say? The way you're talking, it sounds like you think my Rolly's done something wrong. Don't you listen to what that scrawny lawyer says? Whittering on about books and bouquets. Why should we care? It's nitpicking, that's what it is. Oh good, Mrs. Gerardeb's come round. You might call it nitpicking, Mrs. Gerardeb. But deliberately meddling at the scene of crime is a criminal offense. It's called, tampering, Mrs. Naruhodo. But the person responsible for this tampering cannot admit to it, for a very subtle but compelling reason.
Tampering. You've barely heard the term before. Tell us, my learned friend. Who would possibly had cause to carry out such elaborate deception?
Yes, there is someone who tampered with the scene of the crime that evening. All the evidence and all the testimony points to that one particular person. It was the person that was at the scene the whole time. And that would be...
Rolly Beat.
Take that!
Obviously, there's only one person it could have been. Constable Rolly Beat, it was you!
What? A policeman? A member of Scotland Yard?
What nonsense! Why would my Rolly do something like that? There's no one straighter than my husband! No Bobby works more tirelessly than the people of London! Mrs. Beat, you said in your testimony that your husband asked you to go to a nearby police box to fetch the officer on duty. 15 minutes that you were absent from the scene is the only opportunity anyone had to tamper with it. You're making it up! It's all nonsense! It's all lies! What about that Japanese man with the whiskers? I bet it was him! He did it! He ran from the scene!
Objection!
If that was true, Constable Beat would have seen him do it. Oh. Forgive me for pointing it out, but when you dropped your bouquet, Mrs. Beat, it was after the defendant fled the scene. Well...
Objection!
First you make accusations about the landlord and his wife, and now you incriminate a policeman as well? But your accusations lack one very important thing.
Evidence, probably.
Claim the crime she was tampered with. But there is only one reason anyone would commit such a reckless crime. To hide something.
That's right, he's right. But my husband and I just happened to be there, that's all. So why would we have anything to hide? Doesn't make sense.
You've often no motive for the alleged tampering. Until you do, the accusations are nothing but empty threats.
Constable Beat a very good reason for wanting to tamper with the scene of the crime. Did he do it? Is that why? That's the key to this entire affair. Mrs. Naruhodo, have you managed to solve this mystery?
Counsel, you've made a very serious accusation against a London police officer. If you are mistaken, I'm sure I need not point out the reputation of the lawyer will be irrevocably damaged. That stark warning in mind, you now explain to the court the motive for this alleged tampering.
Yes, my lord. Gotta slap yourself? Constable Beat's motive for tampering at the crime scene was to hide. Where the... Oh. It was... Oh. If it fell on his side of the road, it would be on his beat. So he moved the other side so it wouldn't be his responsibility. Is that what we're getting at? Where the victim fell to the ground. That's what this Bobby had to cover up, at all costs. What? Where the victim fell? You mean where she was attacked? What are you talking about? We told you at the very start, didn't we? On the pavement by our road. We saw it happen, remember? Which side? It was right here. It's a friend who didn't already know. That's certainly what everyone has been led to believe. But in fact, that's where the victim was stabbed at all. What? What? Methinks that Beat just like didn't want to do any work. It was his anniversary. He didn't want to do any work on a murder case or attempted murder case. So it's like, I'll let the other guy deal with it.
I'm beginning to wonder where this tumultuous town will end, Counsel.
If that's your assertion, then the court is dying to know, my Nipponese friend. Where are you proposing that the crime actually took place that evening?
Take that!
But that's...
On the opposite side of the road? I don't understand. On the evening in question, Mr. Garriter's book fell directly down from the open window above, and your bouquet, Miss Beat, never moved at all. What did move was the scene of the crime itself.
Good gracious!
Objection!
Perhaps you haven't been listening to the ample testimony the court has heard. But these witnesses both saw the moment the attack took place. That's right, I saw it with my own eyes. It's 5 o'clock in the evening, already dark. There's typical London fog on the ground. When you saw the incident unfold and ran to the victim's aid. That was actually on the west side of Briar Road. No, that's not true. It can't have been. Council Beat then arranged for you to be absent for a while by sending you for help. During the 15 minutes you're away, he transplanted the crime scene. Moved all the things shown in this print. The victim herself, the 4 books. Moved everything, in fact, to the pavement on the east side of Briar Road.
Extraordinary.
But the constable overlooked one thing. What? What did he overlook? The bouquet, I presume. Exactly. The prosecution told the court just a few minutes ago about the discovery of the rose bouquet. Lord Van Zeek said it wasn't noticed until the morning as the lay where the street lamps cast no light.
Yes, it couldn't be seen in the dark, obviously.
Which is why it was only the bouquet that was found in its original position, on the pavement on the west side of Briar Road. Those sparkling, crying eyes. And that is the defense's theory about what really happened this evening. How do you respond, Constable Rolly Beat? Tell us the truth. Well, I'm very sorry. I didn't mean to nod off again, but I haven't slept properly in a month. Did I miss anything important? You missed everything! Oh, Rolly, it isn't true, is it? What the lawyer said is all lies, isn't it? I know it is, because you're the most upstanding, righteous man I know. I had a dream, a terrible dream. All the things I did that night. Everything come out. Everything exposed. Yeah? Only it seems... it wasn't a dream at all.
Good golly!
Golly gosh.
Order! What on earth is the meaning of all this?
Oh, Rolly, why? Why would you do something like this? Moving a corpse is a criminal offense, isn't it? Wishing the victim dead should be one, too.
Constable, explain yourself. Why would you do this? As a respected member of Scotland Yard, your duty is to protect the good people of London town.
I can't say, sir.
What?
I really am ever so sorry about all this. For damaging the Yard's reputation. For everything. I have a possible explanation. For why in that particular evening, Constable Beat felt compelled to move the scene of the crime. Like I said, it was his anniversary. He didn't want to ruin it by having to do work. Think of one reason. What? How could you possibly know? You, a foreigner, presuming to understand the mind of a Scotland Yard policeman?
And yet, Lord Van Zeeks, it is this foreigner who's uncovered the startling truth of the matter thus far. I believe it would be beneficial to the court to hear this extraordinary young lawyer's theory. Counsel for the defense, if you please.
Yes, my lord.
Now then, I think you had better show us some evidence.
At once, my lord. England, Japan. Makes no difference where you come from. Human emotions are the same. I think I have a fairly good idea of the feelings behind this man's actions. Is way the motive for Constable Beat's unthinkable actions. I'm thinking this might be where, I redo the warrant card. Because you didn't want to have to be on his beat.
Take that!
Music stopped. I did it right, I think. I realize I'm a foreigner in this land. I've only just arrived from Japan. Which is why all this information about London's so-called bobbies is completely new to me. I learned that, though honorable, patrolling the beat is the most demanding work in the world, for example.
Keeping the peace, looking after the citizens on his beat in all kinds of ways. There's no doubt the young Bobby is charged with a great deal to do each day, certainly.
For Constable Beat, the day in question was special.
Special? How?
On account of this bouquet, my lord. Oh, yes! It was our very first wedding anniversary! Constable Beat had worked so hard to be able to afford this simple gift for his wife. So looking forward to taking her out for a celebratory meal. When he and Mrs. Beat stumbled upon a crime upon Briar Road. He saw that shadowy figure through the fog collapse on the pavement ahead of them. Must have gone through the man's mind. But sir, just that one particular day I was looking forward to celebrating my wedding anniversary. Mrs. B puts up with a lot being married to a bobby like me. I want to show my dear wife how much I care. This is the warrant card the Constable Beat offered to lend me earlier. Inside among the rules for patrolling policemen, it says. When a crime is discovered on his beat, a policeman must assist with initial investigations and help detectives.
Aha!
Constable Beat. Is that or is that not the reason for I moved the whole scene of the crime that day? Yes. Everything you said, it's alright. So that's it. It was all to do with the boundary of your beat. Oh! Exactly. To summarize, the incident actually occurred on Constable Beat's beat.
Good gracious! Constable, do you realize the gravity of what you've done?
It was the first time since I became a copper that I'd ever cursed God. Stay close to me, Pat. The criminal could still be lurking somewhere. As we ran over to the scene, I had every intention of doing my duty as a police officer. I've got to report this to the station as quickly as possible. But then it dawned on me. I realized where we were, where the victim was lying, and what that meant for me. When a crime is discovered on his beat, a policeman must assist with initial investigations, help detectives. Why here? Why'd this have to happen here? And why tonight of all nights? Why? Okay, so I'm glad that we got all this narrowed down. But there's still, like, I get we've made a good point here that Rolly wasn't telling the truth. But Patricia did still see the woman being stabbed. That hasn't changed. So we still can't prove our defendant's innocence. Cool. Which I'm almost certain Van Zeeks is going to bring up. Sure, this was a little fiasco here, but we still don't have any proof our defendant didn't do it. I told Pat she'd have to go to the nearest police box and fetch whoever was on duty there. It was then, when I opened my mouth to speak, it just came out. I couldn't believe the words that were coming out of my own mouth. This is the next beat to mine, Pat, so I have to go to the police box that covers it, turn around along Meerschaum Street, and then... You done goofed, Rolly. Can't believe it. Oh my god, he's crying. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh, Constable. I just wanted, just that one night, to take my Patricia out for dinner. Oh, Rolly, just that one night. You knew that if the incident was on your beat, your evening of celebration would be ruined. And so you decided to move the entire crime scene outside your jurisdiction. Just across the street to the east pavement of Briar Road, which falls under the neighboring beat's care. Oh, actually, no. We do still have, like, a lead that our defense is innocent, because it was on the west side, which means the knife could have fallen out the window still. Okay. You see, I thought... Well, I was sure the victim was dead, you see.
I beg your pardon?
Oh, of course he did. Otherwise, my Rolly would never have left the poor woman on the freezing cold pavement.
Would he, though? I see your meaning now.
But God God got me back for my sins, didn't he? That's why I missed the rose I bought for Pat. Oh no, Rolly, that was all my fault. I should never have dropped in such a dark place. I'm so sorry, Rolly. And can you tell us, Constable? How many books did you move from one side of the road to the other in total? Huh? 4 it was. Yes, sir, definitely 4. 3 of them dropped by Mr. Natsume, and the 4th being the one that fell from the window upstairs in the Gerdev household, of course. But what made you place that book in the victim's hand? And all the others were scattered haphazardly around, I mean. Oh, well, sir, that's because that's how I found it. How you found it? What do you mean? When we first ran over to the scene, the victim was already holding the book. So, when I moved everything, I made sure it was still in her hand. You sure it was this book, The Lion's Pride, that was the victim was holding? Oh, yes, sir. No doubt about it, sir. Interesting. I thought it was an open and shut case at the time, you see. There were only the 2 people at the scene, and Pat and me both saw it happen. However, which way you looked at it, it had to be the fellow who ran off, who done it, I thought. Yeah, again, there's that point. I couldn't see the harm, really. I didn't think moving all over the road would make a jot of difference. I suppose this is it for me now. I've had it. My lord.
Yes, Lord Van Zeeks?
I believe that concludes the cross-examination of the witnesses. Constable, you may withdraw. Yes, sir! Mr. Prosecutor, sir, what will become of my Rolly? What will happen to him? For now, you're free to go home. The police will contact you in due course. Please, don't punish my husband. This was all my fault. It's because I'm always moaning at him for coming home late. Leave it now, Pat. Let's go home. I'm tired. All right then, my love. One last thing, Constable. Sir! Let this be a lesson to you. In a criminal investigation, every detail matters, however insignificant it may seem to you. Yes, sir. Carve that lesson to your mind. And never again make the mistake of tampering with the scene of a crime. Never again, sir! You mean to say... Leave, now. This trial is not yet over. Sir! Okay, so... In every case of this point, the people that said, I saw it happen, I saw the moment it happened, they've been lying. In this case, they weren't lying about when, like, the moment it happened. They're lying about what happened immediately afterwards. I mean, it's still... I mean...
Whoever thought of a third party transplanting the entire scene of a crime like that?
Indeed, my lord. Nevertheless, there are some immutable facts here. Principally... that the accused, Mr. Soseki Natsume, is the only person who could possibly have committed this crime.
Objection.
No, I disagree. Now that we know the true scene of the incident, there's someone else. Another person who could be responsible for the knife and victim's back. Yeah, I guess we're going back to Mrs. Garadeb. Forgetting for being presumptuous, I believe the prosecution is probably well aware of this possibility already.
Lord Van Zeeks, is this true?
Very well. Name the person, if you will, and if further investigation is warranted... The prosecution has no objection to the trial continuing.
Now name this other person who could have perpetrated the crime.
Take that!
Defense would once again like to request the cross-examination of a new witness, my lord.
Once again?
My sister made the same request earlier. In order to finally reveal the truth about this case, it's imperative to cross-examine the juror number 4, Mrs. Joan Garadeb. Me? Me? Oh, dearie me.
Objection!
That request has already been denied. But the situation's very different now. Mrs. Garadeb, answer me this. What do you want now, you little toad? At the time of the incident, you were engaged in a violent argument with your husband, Mr. John Garadeb. In the course of the argument, a minor house fire was ignited. To clear the smoke from the room, your husband opened a window that looks out over Briar Road. Well, what of it? He threw this book at your husband when he was cornered with his back against the window. Upon striking the pane of the open-topped hinged casement window, the book plummeted directly down. Oh! Finding its way to what we now know to be the true scene of the incident. Oh, I see. The woman bent down to pick up the book, and while she was bent over, the knife flew down and hit her in the back because she was bent over. Got it. Yes, and as I said, what of it? Turn the argument. You're beside yourself with rage. As such, through not just books, but anything you could lay your hands on. So, let me ask you one more time, Mrs. Garadeb. This knife, the one removed from the victim's back. Have you really never laid eyes on it before? Ah! Don't faint again. I don't recall it. Seriously? Am I supposed to remember everything I picked up and threw at my husband? And anyway, the man over there in all the regalia said the members of the jury needn't testify, didn't he? Conveniently, yes.
Objection!
No, I have no recollection of saying that at all, juror number 4. Oh. Make no mistake, you jurors are not special in any way. You're not immune to the judicial process. If you know something about this knife, madam, let the truth come out. But that's just a common or garden knife. It could have come from anywhere. We have several like that at home. If one went missing... You have several like that at home, huh? How'd you expect me to know? What's that? Are you joking? What are you saying, please, Mrs. Garadeb? You have several like that. No, you listen to me. I refuse to believe all this nonsense. I couldn't bear the thought that I'd injured someone. Do you hear? I couldn't bear it. Oh, the poor woman. So, yes, I want evidence. I want to see hard evidence if you're going to insist on this being my fault. You're going to have to prove to me that I threw that knife if that's what you think. Come along now. Chop chop. Do your worst. Well, Mr. Naruhodo? If I had evidence like that, believe me, I would have thrown it out already. Then take the stand, juror. Oh. The prosecution's object to the defense's request to cross-examine this woman. Thank you, Lord Van Zeeks. I'm going to have to testify.
Juror number 4, as I'm sure you will appreciate having observed it with your own eyes today, witness testimony can lead to the most extraordinary truths being unearthed. Truths of which the witnesses themselves may not even have been aware.
Oh, dearie me.
So I demand your full and unadulterated testimony, Mrs. Garadeb. And mark my words, in this court of law today, we shall extract the truth. Do you concur, counsels?
Certainly, my lord. Oh, that's what I'm hoping for, my lord. Ah, this music. We're really getting to the bottom of things now. Such a strange feeling. For the first time since arriving in this country, it actually feels real. Well, this is camera angle. And here, the Old Bailey. And I'm a lawyer. I mean, yeah. Witness, state your name and occupation. Oh, yes, my name is Joan Garadeb. And I'm, well, I'm a juror and such like. That's not your occupation! Sounds like even she doesn't know if she's a housewife or a maid. Or what anymore.
The court has decided your testimony is required in order to clarify matters in this case. Do you understand, madam?
Yes, yes, my lord. You will tell the court everything that took place in your household the evening in question. And I warn you, do not attempt to hide the truth. Oh, dearie me. Chin up, Joni. Nothing to worry about now. Hey, here he is. Oh, I didn't know you were here, John.
Wasn't only you in the room that day, old thing, was it? I think I ought to testify as well, don't you?
But what about your knee, dear?
Don't you worry about that. Hardly notice it. I'm not the sort of chap to leave a comrade to face disciplinary action alone.
Oh, John.
Presume you're Mr. John Garrideb. Yes, sir. Former Second Lieutenant of the 3rd Regiment of the 4th Northumberland Fusiliers, yes, sir. Seen my fair share of action, now living the quiet life, as it were. The quiet life? Were you not engaged in incendiary battle with your spouse on the day in question?
Well, yes, quite.
I believe this may represent a first in the proud history of the British court. Calling a juror to the witness stand is unprecedented. However, the court will hear your testimony now, juror number 4, that of your husband. You will recount clearly and concisely the events in your home at the time of the incident in question. Sir, at once.
Battle of Garrideb.
Yes, on the day you're referring to, the wife and I did have a bit of a skirmish. Can't recall the reason now. Knocked the candlestick over and set fire to the carpet. Soon had out though and got the window open.
Meanwhile, I was picking up whatever I could find to throw at him.
Plenty of knives around our place. Can't say I'd noticed if 1 or 2 went missing, I'm afraid. If that badly thing in the victim's back really was one of ours, you have a job proving it, I think.
Well, the only thing we have on the knife is that the tip's missing. And if we could... if the tip of... Actually, that doesn't prove that the knife's theirs, though.
Sounds as though it was quite the battlefield in your household that evening.
Although an entirely one-sided assault, it seems.
The enemy caught us on the hop, sir. Had no choice but to dig and take defensive measures. To be honest, if the enemy had kept shelling us for another minute, we'd have been toast. Of course, veteran such as myself is only too aware that on every battlefield you're just a gnat's whisker from death at any moment.
Are we still talking about a marital quarrel here?
Well, I must say I'm dubious this testimony will shed any light on the origin of this jackknife. In combat, one's focus narrows, such as surroundings are barely noticed. These witnesses may not be able to offer anything more than they have testified already. This may be a dead end.
And Zeeks may well be right. Well, whatever the chances, we only have this last cross-examination to uncover the truth, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, I'm afraid so.
Very well, counsel. Begin your cross-examination.
Alright, do or die, I guess. Here we go. Battle of Garrideb.
Hold it!
The reason is what you told us yesterday, I believe. Yes, that's right. If I remember correctly, it all started because of a note that was tucked into pages of a book belonging to Mr. Garrideb. Rather passionate note, in fact. When Mrs. Garrideb found the note, discovered your husband's little secret. And she gave him a mighty number of slaps across the face for it, too, which seemed to have healed up.
What a sordid state of affairs.
Heck on earth.
I say, a chap says he can't recall such things. It's common decency not to drag it all up. And besides, half of it is wide of the mark anyway.
A likely story. These waters run very deep.
And what transpired next after these multiple blows to the face?
Knocked the candlestick over, set fire to the carpet.
Hold it!
The fire also spread some mounds of furniture, didn't it?
The bookcase, my armchair, anything of mine, really. Just so happens there was some bathwater around that evening, so I schlossed that about to put it out.
Not touching that.
A most precarious situation you put yourself in. I was a 3-story townhouse on the west side of the street where the water main isn't connected yet. Have to draw water for a public water pump during the day if you need any, you see.
The lodge is always moaning they can't get any water at night. Although, that little mustached Japanese man buys water in bottles, I believe. Defendant Mr. Natsume, you mean? Yes, he receives a stipend for his studies, you know, from his home country. Can you imagine being able to brew a pot of tea at all hours? He's obviously very well off. Have you actually seen the state of the man? I believe he uses all of his income to buy books. Well, anyway, the point is, I was able to douse the fire with water, fortunately enough. Think of whatever we could find, though.
Hold it!
Even though the room was on fire? As far as I'm concerned at the time, it's more important to extinguish my anger than the flames. When a woman wants to throw, she must throw. That's most certainly not true of a Sasato takedown, Mr. Naruhodo. How'd she know I was thinking that? Again, she can read our mind. So please cast your mind back and try to remember. Was a knife among the... I gotta stop doing that, I'm sorry. Among the items you threw at your husband that day? In all honesty, I don't recall. But I feel I must point out, I'm no monster. Let me see. Some bread, a cabbage, garlic, a towel, a sponge, a napkin. Hello?
Excuse me.
Do you have something to add, sir? Oh, he's doing some sweet moves with his pipe there, though. Mr. Garadeb.
Huh! Don't shoot!
Sorry, I beg your pardon. Twice remark just not bring something to mind?
Nothing of any significance, no.
Just that the barrage of projectiles the old thing launched in my direction was somewhat more solid than she implies. Books, bricks, and the fire poker, I seem to recall. Ouch. Oh, the woman's aim is uncanny. She landed a direct hit with every bally. Ah! Good grief, woman, we're not at home now. This is a court of law. Oh, dearie me, ever so sorry. She poured it into the pipe. Ever so sorry, dear. What's she even doing with a teapot in here? Honestly, John, I would never have thrown such things at you, obviously. I'll take a look at this, then. How do you suppose that happened,
Your pipe, sir?
I have this thing in my hand as usual at the time of the onslaught. Knocked it clean out with one of her soft projectiles, she did. Yes. And when I went to pick the thing up, it was broken in two. Like to see a sponge do that sort of damage. Oh, that's what that's for. That's a little... We've never been sent flying unless it's hit by something pretty solid. Anyway, I've managed to bandage the thing up for now. You're one to exaggerate, aren't you, dear? I don't know what we should make of this account. It could be important. Thanks, leave Mr. Gabner's remark just now to be great significance.
Objection!
This war veteran's words only tell us one thing. Betray a fiery wife, and pipes as well as hearts may be broken. Sentimental wisdom, perhaps, but hardly worth adding to the formal testimony.
Indeed. Common sense, one might say.
Might one? In that case, would you at least permit us to examine the pipe, sir?
Well, I don't see why not.
Oh, dearie me, there you go again, trying to ingratiate yourself with a young lady. God.
Very well, the court will accept the gentleman's pipe as evidence.
Let's take a look at that right now. Right now. Show me. Show me the pipe. Oh, it's shipped as well. Hello? Oh! That's the other part of the knife! Oh! That's the other part of the knife! Oh my god. Something just twinkled inside the chamber of the pipe there. Yes, I saw it. Something stuck in there, I think. Just turn over and give it a shake. What's this? It's a tiny fragment of metal. It looks like the tip of a blade or something. Tip of a blade? It surely couldn't be. That is absolutely the tip of the knife. That was in the victim's back. Oh my god, that explains everything. I was just feeling rather disappointed for you that your request was turned down. Oh no, it's fine. It's Sasato-san, we have some new evidence to work with. You should examine it carefully.
Well, thank you for that. Rebuttal, Mr. Garadeb. Now we can return to the crux of the matter. What can you tell the court about the knife used to attack the victim?
Plain knives around our place. Guess you noticed one or two missing. I think we could prove right here.
Objection!
Mr. Garrideb, can I ask you to take a good look at this, please? You can ask, but I can't see a bally thing. You can't? Used to call me Dead-Eye Deb back in the regiment, of course. That was some time ago now. Even when I'm trying to enjoy a large print book by fire these days. I struggle to tell a B from a D and a P from a Q, to be honest. Oh, he does. Dear me, it's rather wearing being asked about every other letter and every other word. You must be very dizzy. Ah! Can't keep getting away with this game. What is that? A tiny scrap of metal? Yes, almost certainly from the tip of a blade. What may appear at first to be just a tiny scrap is in fact a crucial piece of evidence. Interesting. And where did the defense come by this evidence? It was lodged in the chamber of Mr. Garrideb's pipe. My pipe, you say? By Jove, I wonder how that got there. What precisely does fragment of metal signify, Counsel? Are you suggesting it is in some way related to the matter of the stabbing on Briar Road? Yep. I am. What? Put together with another piece of evidence already in the court record. I believe this tiny fragment of metal will unravel the whole truth of the case, my lord. Oh my god. The back view of the guy's robe and her on the box. You appear rather confident in that extraordinary statement, Counsel. Very well then, present the pertinent evidence to the court. What evidence would pair this fragment of metal allegedly reveals the truth of this entire case? The jackknife.
Take that!
This is the knife that was found in the victim's back. If you look closely, you'll see that there's a small piece of the tip of the blade that is missing. A common issue of the inferior blade sold at unsavory street markets. Criminals use them regularly to leave the tips lodged in the victim's bones. And what of this particular knife? No doubt its tip has suffered a similar fate, now languishing somewhere near the spine of the victim.
Objection!
No, that's not the case. The tip of this particular knife's blade is the very fragment metal we discovered in the chamber of Mr. Garrideb's pipe. Bah! Bah! Oh. Good grief, Lord Van Zeeks! I don't believe it. The knife from the crime scene and this fragment of metal are a perfect match. Good golly gosh! Hey, I say that sometimes. Order! Is this some sort of Eastern sorcery? Oh my god. This is no magic, my lord. My god. This is a miracle. A miracle! So Van Zeeks has figured it out, has he? Counsel, explain this extraordinary coincidence at once! Yes, my lord. Crucial point we have to ask ourselves here is when did the fragment of metal find its way inside Mr. Garrideb's pipe? Something that was clarified for us in the most recent witness testimony. I had this thing in my hand as usual at the time of the onslaught. Knocked it clean out with one of her soft projectiles, she did, yes. Never been sent flying unless it was hit by something pretty solid. That was a knife. Oh my goodness, look at her. Oh, dearie me. Turn the argument between these two that occurred just as the victim was on the pavement below. Mrs. Garrideb flung this knife at her husband. However, the knife missed Mr. Garrideb, instead striking the pipe in his hand at the time. Which caused the tip to break off, of course. Good lord! Yes, and that's when the tiny tip of the blade found its way inside Mr. Garrideb's pipe. The chances of that are 1,000,000 to 1! And yet there's no other credible explanation for how the tip of the blade ended up in your pipe. Then after losing its tip, the knife ricocheted off the pipe and flew out of the open window. In short, this knife which fell from the window of the Garrideb's house is the very same knife that struck the victim in the middle of the back on the street below. Oh gosh, oh dear, oh no! My god. My god, this road.
Objection!
Oh? What do you have to say now? A full-bodied theory, I'll give you that. A complex bouquet of seemingly trivial points, plausibly arranged to create an almost passable vintage. Allow me to toast my learned friend's characteristically Nipponiese approach to bottling his argument. Sorry? But after all, it's just a theory. A game theory. The bottle, I fear, is corked. 'Cause you see... Oh my god, the boot. It's spoilt by an insurmountable inconsistency. Insurmountable? What? What inconsistency?
Lord Van Zieks, explain yourself. What's this inconsistency claimed to have identified?
An inconsistency of the simplest nature, my lord. Victor saw with the knife planted in the middle of her bag. Yeah, she was bent over picking up the burned book. Yes, in her... Ah! That's right, you silly little man! Now, Joan, old thing, what are you getting so excited about? Let's consider the basic facts of the case once more. The victim was walking along the pavement before being stabbed in the back and falling to the ground. Guess we have to use the book to prove it. If the knife that struck her had fallen from above... There's no possible way it could have planted itself in the victim's back. Gah!
Order!
Quite right, you see, that's exactly right. If the knife had fallen on her from above, it would have struck her on the top of her head. Well,
It would appear the defense has made rather a spectacular blunder.
If a theory is even one inconsistency, it cannot stand. Your theory, my learned friend, is history. No, it isn't. I know exactly why. We were so close. I'd see the truth. So sure we're on the right track. Now the way has been blocked completely. I just want simple consistency. Or in other words, we simply need to eliminate that one inconsistency, and the theory will stand. Mrs. Sato. Mustn't worry, Miss Naruhodo. You were just caught off guard, that's all. Your mind went blank. If the path you're on is indeed correct, then a way will present itself. Key, this is in the court record, I'm sure. All the information you need is there. Yep, it's the book. Seems you have nothing to say, my dear buddy's friend. Well, your silence speaks volumes. A tacit acceptance that your theory is fatally flawed. I know exactly what to do. Yep. Objection, he said with his head in his hands. You can see he doesn't mean I was on the wrong track. It means I need to sharpen my mind and dig deeper for the truth. It's a test! Yes! If I found the victim from above, there's no way I could have hit her in the middle of her back. Under normal circumstances, that is. What are you implying?
Counsel?
There's a piece of evidence in the court record that can explain this inconsistency. Just explain how the knife that fell from above could have pierced the victim's back. We already have the answer.
Goodness. No, goodness. Utter madness. Surely this must be the last time. Counsel, present the evidence of which you speak.
Here we go. It's the last inconsistency, the final piece in the puzzle. If I'm successful makes sense of this, truth will be laid bare last. The answer explains how the falling knife became lodged in the victim's back is... the book.
Take that!
She bent over and picked it up. This, the fourth book found at the scene. This is the final piece of evidence the defense will present. The burnt book?
Is that not Mr. Garradeb's book?
Yes, and to understand significance, we have to consider how it came to be at the scene in the first place. This photographic print clearly shows the book in question. The victim holding it in her hand. But as we all now know, it was the police constable that put the book between her fingers like that.
Quite so. It's one of his wholesale transplanting the crimes to the opposite side of the road.
That's true. However, as part of his testimony, Counsel Beat made an extremely enlightening statement on that point. But what made you place that book in the victim's hand? Oh, well, sir, that's how I found it. When I first ran over to the scene, the victim was already holding the book. So when I moved everything, I made sure it was still in her hand.
Yep.
In other words, the victim had already picked up the book of her own volition. Clearly, it must have been before she suffered the knife wound.
Well, I should say so. After being attacked with a knife, I don't imagine she'd have been doing much of anything.
So the question becomes, why did the victim have that book in her hand? By Jingo! I think I'm beginning to see what may have happened now. Oh, dearie me. We know the book fell from the top floor of the Garrett household to the pavement below. At precisely the moment that the victim was walking past. Yes, exactly that moment. The young woman was walking along the street in the light fog. And all of a sudden, a book fell right in front of her. The book I threw. Yes, Mrs. Garrett, what do you think the woman did? What would you do if you're walking along and suddenly a book landed in front of you on the pavement? Well, I really can't imagine it, but I suppose she might have reached down and picked the book up. Yes, that's exactly what the woman in fact did. She picked up the book. Oh, heavens! When the woman reached down to pick the fallen book up, what position would her back have been in? That's right, facing the sky, completely and utterly defenseless. Then, in the very next moment, while the woman was still bent over picking up the book, the next object fell from the room above, the jackknife straight in the middle of her back. And at that same time, walking by chance directly behind Miss Green, was the defendant, Mr. Sasaki Natsume.
Well, I never!
It appeared to Mr. Natsume that the woman simply collapsed on the floor. The dark and the fog. He didn't see the knife falling her from above. And from the other direction, the constable and his wife saw no one but the victim and her apparent attacker.
So there never was a real culprit to run from the scene in the first place.
No, this was nothing more than a series of unlikely events that culminated in an unfortunate accident. And that is the real truth behind this case. We cracked the code. We did it. Well, Mr. and Mrs. Garrett? The very first time you showed me that knife, I had my suspicions. I wondered if perhaps it might have been something like that. There, old bean. Poor Mrs. Garrett. Of course, I never meant for anything of the sort to happen, but it was all my fault, wasn't it? I take full responsibility. I let my anger get the better of me. I threw that book, and I threw the knife as well. John, dear. It's all right, I know. I'm ever so sorry. Truly. I'm sorry! Oh, she dropped... Uh-oh. Oh. Oh no. His leg. Yep. Well then.
Lord Van Zeeks, what news of Mrs. Garrett?
She's been taken to the infirmary. It appears today's events have left her in an especially flustered state. However, I believe she'll recover in due course. There's no cause for concern.
Yes, unbeknownst to themselves, they caused what could have easily been a terrible tragedy. They shall have to prepare themselves for the consequences of their actions.
There's some good news, however, my lord. Oh, did the woman wake up? Just heard word from the hospital where the victim is being treated. Her condition is improving steadily, and the doctor believes she'll regain consciousness soon. Strange. We've been talking about the victim all this time, but we've never once met her. How wonderful! This woman's out of danger, it seems. Yes, that is good news.
So, Mr. Sasaki Natsume.
Oh, he's here now. Yes.
On behalf of my fellow countrymen, I would like to take this opportunity to beg your pardon, sir. You came from your distant eastern homeland to study our great British culture, and have been repaid with immeasurable unkindness. Please accept our heartfelt apologies.
No, it's me should be begging your pardon. Oh no, Mr. Natsume. That evening, when the young woman just collapsed on the pavement before my eyes, I jumped to the wrong conclusion again in my confusion.
What conclusion, sir?
I was sure that the woman was dead. Yes, Constable Beat said the same thing, didn't he? Thought she'd been killed too. Suppose she must have looked completely lifeless. It's been about a year since I arrived in Great Britain now, but I still can't get used to life here. I can't relax. I'm sure there are evil spirits lurking in the fog, like they're haunting me. Of course, Saseki-san. His imagination really has got the better of him. Yes, poor man. So when it happened, I thought the young woman had been taken by the fog spirits. Should never have dropped my books like that and run away. I should have called for help, for a doctor, for the police. Instead, I've managed to create a rift in the relationship of trust between our two empires. And for that, I'm truly sorry.
One could indeed say that sort of mischievous spirit had been at work here, I think. One that created a chain of unfortunate mishaps.
Is that a spin-off of Series of Unfortunate Events? Chain of unfortunate mishaps.
We're befooled by the spirit led to false conclusions, but thanks to Lord Van Zeeks and a long lawyer here from the east, that chain has now been broken and the spirit exorcised. I heartily commend you both.
Oh!
Now then, ladies and gentlemen of the jury.
Yes, my lord.
In concluding this trial, I must ask one last time for your decisions regarding the defendant's culpability. Are you ready to present your findings to the court?
Well, if they just, all guilty. As a form of the jury, I can assure you've reached a fair and just conclusion. I do declare the truth can be extremely cruel at times. Well, I didn't suspect the woman next to me, that's for sure. Sitting for the old beat while she's out of action, but I know what her decision would be. Does it mean I'll finally be able to get out of here and start work? Well, it's about time.
I say, I'll have a corker of a story to tell the grandchildren when I get home, won't I? Very well, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I hereby demand your final decisions.
Just all go guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
We did it! Hooray!
Very well, Mr. Saseki Natsume, I hereby pronounce you...
Hey, we did it. And confetti. Was confetti and fireworks around back then? I may be stupid, but way back then, were confetti and fireworks a thing? I don't know.
And finally, Mr. Natsume,
Oh, yes, Lord, sir.
you're now a free man once more. It's my hope that you'll continue further your education in British culture. And may you never again be brought before me.
Oh, yes, sir, of course. On my life, I swear I'll never set foot in a courtroom again. I'm transported to tears. I'm glad we got one more of those.
Thank you, counsels. Court is adjourned.
Now, is Soseki gonna die? That's the thing. Is he gonna die after this? Because that's what the Reaper of the Bailey does. Oh, Locum! Wait, you mean me? Of course! Is another Locum here? Is there even one? Compared to the original Locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire, your name's been rather short, hasn't it? What's wrong with using my actual name? Oh, at last, I'm free! I'm free! Joyful, joyous, jubilant jubilation! Heady, hearty happiness, hurrah! Oh, I'm pleased! Mr. Natsume's delighted. Would it be so hard just to say that, then? Locum, you did it! You saved me from the brink! Oh, what happened to the poor woman? It was no way in your fault, after all. I'm just glad they can see that now. No, 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 not that! Lovely, loyal locum lawyer! Yes? I mean, as I said before, I just never got used to life here in Great Britain. Every time I look over my shoulder, I see foreigners. I see towering brick buildings. From high up windows, I see them looking down on me, laughing. Look at that little hunchback. Oh dear, I'm sure it's all in your head, Mr. Natsume. But today, you locum lawyer gave my gloom the boot. You stood firm behind that baronial bench for all those babbling British. You bowed to the bitter end, laying bare the baffling truth. When I beheld the blinding fireworks among the beams of the Bailey's roof, I bellowed, "Behold the best barrister ever born!" Oh, that's very flattering, and we're very pleased for you. This has given me a wonderful anecdote to recount to my old friends back in Japan. An anecdote? Is that what's become of all my hard work? There you are, my dear fellows. Hey! I apologize for keeping you waiting. I rose late this morning. Oh, Mr. Sholmes, what a pleasure to see you. I see I'm here not a moment too soon. A disaster has been averted, I'm glad to say. Oh. The trial should begin presently, Mr. Naruhodo. I wish you the very best of luck. It just finished. What? No, then my haste was in vain. Ah! It's you! Airlock Sholmes! Oh, have we met, sir? This is Mr. Natsume, the man you had arrested, Mr. Sholmes. Ah, I see. I failed to recognize you at first. Previous encounters have taken place in the gloom, either of your bleak lodgings or that prison cell. Simply couldn't place that curious face. In the light. Charming. This is all your fault, Airlock Sholmes. You're the reason I had to go through this terrible ordeal. I'm going to give you a piece of my mind. My apologies, sir, but I assure you, I've placed you now. You're the fellow who abandoned that poor young lady and ran off, are you not? Had she been taken to hospital more urgently, I feel perhaps she would have regained consciousness by now. Oh. But it was unavoidable, I'm sure. You're but human, after all. Anyone would have been shaken by such an experience. He is holding that dab for very long. I do feel very badly about how I behaved. Well, never mind. Now then, what was it that you wanted to say to me, sir? Nothing. Priceless! Oh, I am sorry, really, but... that was quite priceless. Poor Saseki-san. Still, on the bright side, you've had an extremely entertaining experience without paying a penny. And it would seem you were not even found guilty. But there's no bright side. Whatever do you mean, Mr. Natsume? Yeah, he's probably gonna die after this. Even after this, I'm still cursed by the spirits, and now by the Reaper! Ah, Lord Van Zeeks. I haven't forgotten, you know, what facing that man in court means. And if you're found not guilty, you're still doomed. It would all be alright, Mr. Natsume. If the Reaper appears trying to make trouble, I'll protect you. Hiya! Oh, fortune practices on me. The perfectly executed Susato takedown. Much as I like being turned on my head, a bit of warning might be nice next time, Miss Susato. So, Mr. Natsume, what do you intend to do now? Mentioned something about recounting your experiences with your friends back in Japan? Yes, I intend to return to my homeland soon. Oh. It has already been a year since I arrived here in Great Britain. Visited universities, libraries, bookshops, I've been honored with the tutelage of professors. Learned so much about the wealth of literature here, and the city is shaped. I've come to realize it is my calling to sail home and tell my fellow countrymen about it. It's very touching, Mr. Natsume.
Or, in perhaps less veiled terms, you wish to withdraw halfway around the world to escape the terror of the Reaper's curse? That's not it at all! The more I learn of literature, the more this strange feeling clogs my insides. I feel compelled to return to my roots, and I attempt to pen a work of my own.
Oh, I see. A work of literature by Saseki-san. Could be an interesting read.
And what about Mrs. Sato and yourself, Mr. Naruhodo?
Sorry, what about us?
Will you return to Japan alongside your mustached compatriot?
Why would we? A week has not yet passed since we arrived in London. Only now does it feel like we've finally found our feet.
And you're accommodated hotel at present, are you not?
That's right, but we need to find lodgings before it bankrupts us. Calculate we can only afford another 10 nights for our entire budget exhausted.
Well then, you could take my lodgings.
Oh, the windowless room?
But what lacks in windows is more than makes up for the floor, ceiling, and walls.
Great.
And of course, I'd be happy to leave behind the accursed evil spirit.
Oh my, an evil spirit?
For free? What is steel?
Oh yes,
it tries to suffocate you while you sleep. It's an infallible wake-up call. That's probably the cat. We'll think about it, if that's alright. Perhaps I can offer a more welcome alternative. Would you consider taking lodgings with me?
Yes. Yes.
Really? Well, a vacancy has conveniently presented itself. Though it's up in the attic, I might add.
You sure it isn't just a storage loft?
I spoke with the landlady this very morning on the matter of price, and Iris is cleaning the room as we speak. Must come at once. I presume you have no luggage to speak of?
Oh, this is simply wonderful. What an honor to be invited taking lodgings in the great detective's office's attic. I'm too overcome for words.
So suggesting we look elsewhere is out, then.
Oh well.
Then it's settled. Iris will prepare a welcome dinner this evening. And you must come too, Mr. Natsume. I insist.
I don't know what to say, but thank you, and yes.
Wonderful. Then I'll go and complete the paperwork for your formal release, Mr. Natsume. It shan't take long.
Somebody's happy.
It's Sasato's dream come true. Locum, I knew that you wouldn't let me down. I'm truly delighted to have met you here in London.
Likewise, Mr. Natsume. It's been a privilege meeting you, too. Shame they're gonna have to say goodbye so soon.
Well, I've come to realize that I belong in Japan. But Locum, we'll meet again one day.
Yes, I'm sure. Hopefully by then, I'll be a successful lawyer.
Hopefully by then, I'll be a successful author. Well, my dear fellow, our carriage appears to have arrived. Shall we go, Mr. Naruhodo?
Yes, Mr. Sholmes.
I've little doubt Mr. Natsume will release in time for dinner this evening.
Okie dokie. And so, with Saseki-san's innocence successfully established, we rode with Mr. Sholmes to what was to become our new home, 221B Baker Street. Imagine. I had imagined this is how this would turn out. Hold on. I'd open a soda. Decided to spare you from the ASMR soda opening. Unless you guys want that sort of thing. In which case I'll bring like 20 sodas down. Ooh, that parallax. So this is to be our new office, yes! Our office? I really like the sound of that. Me too! It's simply wonderful, isn't it? I hope you can see this, Kazuma. It's only a small step. I like to think we're getting a little closer to your dream now.
So, my dear fellows, do you like the place?
Oh. That's... I don't recognize him without his hat on. Oh, Mr. Sholmes, yes, thank you so much. It's a delightful room, Mr. Sholmes. I simply adore it.
Good, I'm pleased to hear it.
Asnar, delighted to welcome you. I hope everyone's hungry. It's nearly time for dinner. We'll eat as soon as Mr. Natsume arrives. We have a lot to celebrate. Nurse, you mustn't let me help you. Alright then, Susie. You can be in charge of the salad. Splendid. And before Mr. Natsume dies on the way here or something. So, Mr. Naruhodo, how does it feel? To have your own office in the capital. It's very exciting, actually. Can't help wondering what adventures await us. Those were precisely my sentiments when I first established my office in these premises. Until I discovered the dark truth about the city of London, that is. Sorry? London is a glorious place, full of wonder, opportunity, prosperity, and mirth. But the brightest of lights cast the darkest of shadows. Shadows? What do you mean? Well, I believe you're well aware of the murkiness that lies beyond London's facade already. So once again, Mr. Naruhodo. Welcome to London. Alright. We did it. Of course, at the time. I had no idea the significance of those words Mr. Sholmes so casually spoke. It wasn't long before my turn came. To lift the facade and see the true depth of the murk that lay behind it. Yeah. Well, at least this trial we got a conclusion to. Last time it was just, hey, ended. Hey, the guy's dead. And the evidence all burned up. Cloud of Kokoro is done. What's next? The unspeakable story. That's not alliteration. Well, you know. The Hound of the Baskervilles? Wait a minute. These are interesting title cards. Is this the last one of this first game? I think it is. Guess we're playing it. The Hound of the Baskervilles.
It's coming! Sholmes's cry pierced through the thick wall of fog around us. Wisps of vapor flowed over the pistol as I cocked it, and I waited, breathlessly, in the stillness. The silence lasted for what seemed an eternity, until, at last, it appeared. From the shadows of the cloud, an enormous beast sprang out upon us. A hound it was. But not such a hound as any mortal has ever seen. Its eyes glowed with a smoldering glare. The whole of its ox-sized body was outlined in white-hot flames. Its rumbling pant and hideous howl, so terrified was I that I began to
That's just an
tremble with
Arcanine.
fear. Look well, Wilson, Sholmes declared, gazing upon the mystical beast. For this
There we go.
This is the diabolical Hound of the Baskervilles.
Okay, that's better. My head got a little misaligned. First 2 months in London passed by in a flash. That disconcerting courtroom experience we were first thrown to on the day we arrived in the country. And Soseki-san's terrible ordeal had followed close behind. We had emerged victorious. However, there then came an abrupt end to opportunities to appear in court. It's hardly surprising, of course, as I was nothing more than an amateur, an unknown student of law from a faraway land. His life in the law office was very quiet. That is, until it was shattered one day by that fateful telegram. Uh-oh. Naruhodo's legal consultancy. Nice. Knock, knock. Time for bad news. Hey, look at this. Spoken by the unreserved knocking on the door by the telegram boy. After he'd gone, Sato-san's behavior became very obviously strange. Uh-oh. Sato-san? Yes! It's time to leave for court already? Let me see. What case is it today? I don't think I'm scheduled to defend anyone at the moment, am I? Oh, no, of course not. How silly of me. I think Iris said she'd make us breakfast this morning. Shall we go down to Mr. Sholmes' suite? Yes! Iris makes the most delicious breakfast food. She does, doesn't she? Once our bellies are full, we can leave for court in fighting fit form. Let me see. What case is it today? Here we go again. So, what was it about? The telegram that was delivered this morning, I mean. Oh, a telegram? I don't know what you're talking about. Sorry, but you're not gonna get away with that. Well, I didn't think I would. Actually, don't give it a moment's thought. It's nothing. Nothing interesting. Boring, in fact. Just a boring old telegram. That's 3 times now she's tried and failed to convince me it was nothing. I promise I'll tell you about it at some point. Alright, I understand. So Seki-san, what happened to him? Did he die? So Seki-san will arrive back in Japan by now, won't he? Yes, I should think so. He left immediately after that terrible ordeal. Which would mean he should have completed the voyage already. It would be just a few days away. A fortnight ago, we had that very long telegram from him. You remember? Complaining of seasickness. But by and large, it seemed the voyage had been going well. Something wrong, Naruhodo-san? I'm just wondering what might have become of Saseki-san had he stayed in London, that's all. You mean, as regards Lord Van Zeeks, the Reaper? I just can't help but wonder if seasickness would have paled in insignificance in that case. The Reaper. What is it they say? That no one who stands at the dock can be saved from the Reaper, right? Like the way that nightmare's trial ended on the very day we arrived in London. Even 2 months on, the cause of that dreadful fire is still a mystery. We still haven't figured that out? Yeah, so at least Saseki-san is safely out of the country now. Presumably that means that the curse of the Reaper can only take effect within the confines of the city of London, perhaps. Sure. If that's the case, it's a little comfort. A terrible sense of foreboding. Much of the Reaper is to be believed, and he wields the sword of justice himself. Come to think of it, I wonder what he's been up to these past 2 months. Surely not wielding that sword against more acquitted defendants. No, I don't think so. Apparently Lord Van Zeeks hasn't appeared in court once since our last encounter. No? Yes, since Saseki-san's trial. He's withdrawn from judicial service again, it seems. Really? Just like before, when he wasn't seen in court at all for several years. So it's just been me who's had to face him as a recent spate of trials then. Just my luck. I wonder if luck doesn't come into it. Sorry, what was that? Oh, nothing. Never mind. Alright, let us move. Actually, wait, hold on. I gotta do this at least once. It's a great deal to me, you know. That you cherish this armband so, and wear it each time you appear in court. Well, it's very important to me. It's what shows that I'm a lawyer. And whenever I wear it, it feels like it gives me strength through Kazuma. Absolutely can't be without it, especially when at a critical point in a trial. Oh, sorry. But just the other day I noticed you wearing it when I went to visit that park. Sometimes I forget to take it off. Alrighty, now let's move. Sholmes' suite. Breakfast. Morning, Runo. Morning, Susie. Good morning. Good morning, Iris. Iris? What is it, Runo? What is that terrible noise? It sounds like a cat being strangled. Ah, yes. You noticed that, did you? Ah. Hurley's in the best form this morning, it seems. Oh god. Hello. Hello, Mr. Sholmes. Good morning. A good morning to die, perhaps. Oh, is he sick? Something happened, Mr. Sholmes? You look miserable, and the way you're playing the violin before. My analytical mind is dead. Music is dead. The world is dead. Darn this blanched existence! That's all it is, my dear fellow. Nothing of consequence. I'm afraid I don't understand. Well, Iris, is it time we ate? Some dry toast and insipid coffee for me, if it's not too much trouble. Kitty. Oh, that's Oseki's cat. Oh, look, it's Wagahai. Good morning, boy. Sounds like some sort of tiny door for cats to use. But how'd it get there? Well then, everyone, time for breakfast. Oh, wonderful. Let me help you, Iris. It would indeed be a fine day to die. Oh my god. Something's very wrong. I knew something looked different. Something's missing from Mr. Sholmes' desk. Let's take a look. Look at Mr. Sholmes' desk. It's completely clear. Is that a Norse machine usually on it? You can never hope to understand what goes on in the great detective's mind, Mr. Naruhodo. Why, next time we're invited, we may find he's vacated the entire suite. That's scarily plausible, actually. Oh, nope. You seem to be very unhappy this morning, Mr. Sholmes. What's happened? It used to be the case that in my hands, this violin sung like the dawn chorus. Its melodic tones would make flowers bloom. It would? But now, the muses are unamused with me. The goddesses of music have thrown me over. Whatever do you mean, Mr. Sholmes? For hours I've bowed, for days even. Through the night I've endeavored, to no avail. That sound, my tone, is lost. That brilliant, clear, unwavering tone. Gone forever. No more recitals of bridled emotion. Well, you haven't been practicing much lately, have you, Hurley? Don't worry, I'm sure I'll come back to you in time. Heed my words, Mr. Naruhodo. The goddesses of the arts are fickle. One day they bestow genius on a man. The next they unmercifully withdraw it. Oh, dear. Ha! Why is this happening to me? They take the tone out of the violin from me. What is left, for pity's sake? What is left? Deduction, perhaps? Isn't that what you're known for? Missing machine. Was that machine for violin? Mr. Sholmes, I don't like to pry, but your desk looks rather empty today. Ah, well done, Miss Susato. Your observational skills do you credit. Oh no, Mr. Sholmes, they pale in insignificance when compared to yours. You'd struggle not to notice, wouldn't you? You mean Hurley's great analytoscope? That's a Windibanks now. Sorry, it's at a Windy Bank. No, Windibanks. The pawnbrokery. Pawn? What? You mean you pawned that Norse machine of yours? It has some considerable value, you see. Quite undeservingly. But isn't it a very important machine for your work? I do wish you'd consult us if your situation becomes so desperate. I should gladly pass what little income I have to you. Dear madam, things are far from desperate. But the pawnbroker has your wonderful machine. How can it be anything but desperate? Making use of a pawnbroker is quite ordinary here in London, I assure you. It is. Doesn't sound ordinary at all. It would seem that neither of you fully understand how pawnbroking works. Oh, I don't understand exactly.
How's it work?
Tell us. What do you mean you said we didn't fully understand how pawnbroking works? To the people of London, pawnbrokeries are akin to banks.
Banks?
On Mondays, merchants relinquish their finest jackets and trappings to their pawnbroker of choice. With the money they receive in return, they're able to trade happily through the week. And then on Saturdays, they go to recover their things using the money they've earned. I had no idea. This has been a fascinating lesson for us. Everyone does it, you see, especially people in inner London. And should they have money to spare, they would purchase another fine jacket. Not to wear, obviously, but to pawn, should the need arise. Oh, how ingenious! So now we have something that's getting in the way, we leave it to window banks, you see. A pawnbrokery can be thought of as an extremely secure vault. I thought that even pawnbrokers are different here in Great Britain. Of course, you have to watch Hurley with it. Sometimes he pawns things he really shouldn't. Don't you, Hurley? What does it matter? The world is dead to me now. Okay. Game? Okay. Tell me. Tell me about the cat. It's not so his cat seemed to have settled into his new home then. Oh yes, I've become very attached to little Waggy. It would appear his previous owner has completely forgotten to him. Cats are unfeeling creatures. Their mews as empty as the heart of the muses. Oh, look at that! This announced me no intention of taking Waggy back to Japan. I wonder why I kept him in the first place. I expect he would have taken him if he could. But pets are strictly forbidden aboard steamships in our experience. And for good reason. Terrible things can happen if the rules of passage are not obeyed. Yeah, people die. Well, I don't mind, because Waggy's adorable. This'll probably be the thumbnail. Yes, he really is. Oh yes, what about the door? I don't remember seeing that tiny thing in the main door before. Where'd that come from? Oh, you noticed? You're observant, Runo! Look! I use this! It's my latest invention! What is that? I call it the Cat Flapper-Mat! Gosh, a machine for making doors just for cats? That's right! You can make a cat flap for little furry friends like Waggy in seconds! And it can do it in any door at all, no matter what it's made of. It's very powerful, you see. Wouldn't it have been quicker just to make the cat flap rather than making a machine to make the cat flap? Well, now she can make a cat flap anywhere, Ryunosuke. She can make cat flap anywhere now. Well, yes, maybe, but now I can make cat flaps anywhere I like. See? I told you. Mr. Spam Risk, do not call me. I'm doing a stream. Oh, I think it's wonderful. Yes, make one for us in the door of our office upstairs, Iris. She really knows how to come up with unconventional inventions, this girl. Hehehe. Meow. Oh, what was that? Wagga hi? Oh. What's he doing? What was that? Oh no! Buckeye's tangled up in your violin! I think he thinks it's a toy. No, what's he doing to it? Oh dear, Mr. Sholmes' precious violin. Why should I care? What? I shouldn't be surprised. If the cat is a more accomplished musician than I now. My god. Mr. Sholmes really is in poor spirits, isn't he? Well, anyway, I'll put it back where it lives, shall I, Hurley? Out of the cat's reach, if possible. Maybe we should assess the damage. So this is a violin, is it? Oh, no, there's one of the strings. It's a Stradivarius, one of the finest violins in the world, made by the renowned Italian luthier, Antonio Stradivari. Oh, I see. Doesn't really look like anything special to me. I happened upon it covered in dust, languishing in a pawn shop down a nondescript back alley. The broker had no idea of its value, so I was able to purchase it for a mere 55 shillings. How honorable of you. And until today, it's been my faithful companion in every great Pagliani-inspired performance I've made. I ask you, is there reason to live in a world devoid of music? To tolerate this blanched existence? No! There is none! Mr. Sholmes? What, dear madam, what? My thoughts are preoccupied with fancies of release for this dull routine. Well, it's about the violin. It looks very different to normal, don't you think? Hmm? What do you mean, Mrs. Sato? Oh, Susie's right! Yes, the tone of the wood is completely different. That's not all. I'm sure there's no crack here before. Wait, it's not even the right size, is it? What's this? Oh. Stolen and swapped. A thief. I'm terribly sorry to tell you this, Mr. Sholmes, but the instrument isn't a violin at all. Then what? I believe it's an entirely different instrument called a viola. What? What? Oh, Mr. Sholmes, are you alright? You're right. You are quite right. This isn't my faithful Stradivarius. So what, pray, is this piece of string flotsam? Not your faithful performing partner, then. I see what must have happened. You do, Iris? This is just a simple mix-up. Sounds like Iris might be able to tell us exactly what's happened if we ask her. Tell us. Tell us. It's the mix-up. Did you pawn the violin? What do you mean by mix-up, Iris? Well, you see, this violin... sorry, this viola, I mean... was at Windibank's until last week. At the pawnbrokers? Not Mr. Sholmes' beloved musical partner. There's a proverb from the East, with which you are no doubt familiar, my dear fellows. Always let a beloved child travel. Yes, indeed. So you sent our beloved violin to the pawnbrokers and hope that would experience personal growth? Oh, what a wonderful idea! Last week I pawned my great analytoscope in order to release my precious instrument. But it would appear Mr. Windibank mistakenly furnished me with this tawdry fiddle instead. But my ears cannot be deceived by the hollow timber of this piece of timber. Oh, but every sense was deceived by the fact that it just had strings. Pshaw! Fine state of affairs this is! Why, I always say, Mr. Naruhodo, never trust a pawnbroker. They'll try to fiddle you every time. Plays like a dang fiddle! But earlier told us that you could think of a pawnbroker as an extremely secure vault. Guess not. Come, Mr. Naruhodo. Dilly-dallying will get you nowhere. Sorry? Crunching your toast with that vacant aspect. Freshening your coffee so obtusely. Are you not a little embarrassed by your own conduct, considering the urgency of which we are faced? We must visit Mr. Windibank's brokery at once. That's right, isn't it, Mr. Sholmes? Precisely, Mr. Sato. Without a moment's delay. But I haven't finished my bacon and eggs. My dear fellow, surely you do not still intend to crunch your bacon with an increasingly vacant aspect, to fess your egg even more obtusely? Alright, say no more. Let's go then. Don't worry, Bruno. I'll be happy to heat up for you again later. Oh, thank you, Iris. As it happens, I am rather curious to see what a British pawnbroker's looks like. Let's move! Oh. Baker Street. April 15th. Like it says on the calendar there. So this is a British pawnbrokery. Oh my! There are all sorts of tools and contraptions here I've never laid eyes on before. Ah, Sato-san, that spark of wonder in your eyes. Can't wait to scour the shelves, can't you? Get the impression you enjoy places like this. Oh yes, I don't know why, but seeing such a lot of things I don't understand is a real thrill for me. My dear fellows, let's not forget why we are here. Oh, Mr. Sholmes. We are calling about as a business, not pleasure. Here, Mr. Sholmes means business too, judging from the spark of fury in his eyes.
Ah, Mr. Sholmes, sir. Welcome back.
Did you hear that brazen welcome? Well, yes, we're potential customers after all.
We are disgruntled customers, Mr. Naruto. It's time to inform Mr. Winterbank of our ire. Come, the fight is afoot.
Hi? No, hold on. Converse.
Naturally, you will recall this, which I retrieved from you some days ago. Yes. This second refill is not my faithful instrument, Mr. Winterbank. The color of the wood is different, it has holes in it, it's not even the same size.
Wonderful summary of our observations, Mr. Sholmes.
I am so very, very sorry, sir. How utterly unforgivable of me. An inexcusable mistake for a pawnbroker. There's only one way to make amends. But... oh my god. I just have to take my own life.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I don't think that will be necessary, do you? If I may just say one thing before I pop off.
Yes?
It was you, sir, Mr. Sholmes, who took it upon himself to remove the item the other day, I believe.
Sorry?
As I recall, I entered the storeroom to fetch your violin when I heard, here it is.
You did?
And when I turned to controvert you, you had taken the viol and left, sir.
God dang it, Sholmes.
However, there can be no doubt that the blame lies firmly in my own door for allowing you to leave. So I shall not grumble or grouse any longer. May this guilt die with me!
No, stop, my dear fellow. The fault is mine. Pawnbrokery's really serious if that's... Huh. Phew. It appears the fight is over.
I do humbly apologize, Mr. Winterbank. Evidently my questionable disposition precipitated this tragedy. Well, you wouldn't be Mr. Herlock Sholmes without that questionable disposition now, would you?
I do believe you may be right, sir. It's either laugh or cry, I suppose.
You are, as it must be said, one of my more challenging customers. I need to remind you of the peculiar collection of items you brought through my door in the past.
Oh? Peculiar items?
In the extreme, ma'am, for example. The unpublished manuscript of an eponymous work, the novels of Herlock Sholmes or some such.
Oh my, a new full-fledged novel? And unpublished? So I've yet to read, you mean?
Forgive me.
Wait, before you die, you must tell me more. Oh my god, this guy. I must know more. Tell me everything. Sato-san's really fired up now. Is there really an unpublished story on his very roof?
Well, one day the gentleman here brought an old metal chest, you see.
I should like to entrust this to your care for a while, Mr. Winterbank.
For a chest like that, 1 shilling, sir, not a farthing more.
It has something of very great value indeed. The latest manuscript, recounting the adventures of one Mr. Herlock Sholmes.
I beg your pardon, a manuscript? You wish to deposit a manuscript?
Indeed I do, for I'm confident it'll be quite safe here.
And that was that. As such, Mr. Sholmes' latest tale of otherworldly mysteries lies dormant in my storeroom.
Mr. Sholmes, is that really true? Do I sense that someone doesn't want to talk about this? I continue to pay your fee, do I not? They kindly continue to store my belongings, securely.
Of course, sir, of course. They're safe and sound with me, I assure you, on my life!
This is all very strange. I wonder, can I ask you something? Ah, a gentleman from the East, I see. Yes, that sable suit. Suppose I could offer you 6 pence for it. Without wishing to offend, the tone is somewhat dull. Sorry? Aha! But for your splendid attire, ma'am. 5 guineas, no less. The colors are exquisite, the design exotic. Eastern artistry at its finest, might I say. Oh my, 5 guineas, you say? How interesting. It feels as though I've suffered some sort of defeat here. Yeah, her outfit's a lot better, though, Ryunosuke. I was hoping to ask about your business. Heard that the pawnbrokers are used rather like banks here in London. Yes, sir, indeed. Many of my customers utilize the establishment as you describe. Praise their items and offer them a proportionate loan and 2 months of secure stowage. If in that time they will pay the original sum to me, plus the agreed interest, the items are happily returned. What happens if they don't pay you the money? Then the items are offered for sale in my shop, as you can see on the shelves behind me. So you never sell items before the 2 months has passed, then? That's right, ma'am, that's right. Which means some considerable responsibility rests on my shoulders. Should a customer's precious belongings be lost, the only recompense is for me to end it all. The very idea, Mr. Windibank, is an absurdity. One should never talk of one's demise so casually. You mean you, Mr. Sholmes? Like 5 minutes ago? Yes, this man was telling us it's all a good day to die only this morning. And let's not forget that I've already helped you take measures to ensure such tragedy never occurs. What sort of measures? I give you a simple device, which Mr. Windibank has installed here in the shop. I call it the red-handed recorder. Is that not so, Mr. Windibank? What was that deep sigh about? Red-handed recorder. What on earth is a red-handed recorder? Use your eyes, my dear fellow. There are 2 just below the ceiling. I can see what appears to be a camera attached to some sort of timing device. Very astute. It's indeed a camera. Fires some 100 pieces of celluloid film. And every 30 minutes precisely, the camera automatically records the appearance of the shop. Here I have an example I can show you. 4 a.m. Ah yes, a perfect camera set to record the activity of the shop counter. Developed a special type of film so sensitive it produces a crystal clear image, even in darkness. Really? That's extraordinary. Yeah, I can clearly see the counter of the door behind it, look! So you see, for someone to enter the premises with ill intent, his identity would be summarily exposed. But, did you not say that the photographic prints were taken at 30-minute intervals? Indeed, as you say, my dear madam. Then what the incident would occur in between times? We could only say that would be a cruel twist of fate. I must confess your devices have been giving me some cause for distress of late. I beg your pardon, Mr. Windibank. Sure, they're anything but distressing. Reassuring is the word. It's the cost of the film, sir. You most graciously place not 1, but 2 cameras in my shop, after all. But you must pay for nigh on 100 utterly useless prints every single day. I'm afraid the cost of the film will break me before I'm very much older. Gotta pay more. Nevertheless, a small price to pay to ensure the safety of my preferred pawnbrokery, no? My dear fellows, we verge on the age where safety and security come at a price. Oh, heaven help us. Now then, Mr. Sholmes, allow me to return your precious violin. There it is. Ah, the very thing. Thank you, Mr. Windibank. Perhaps this might mark the end of the peculiar items you try to pop, Because if anything were to happen to one of them, this would be the only answer! I really think you ought to stop waving that gun around. Someone would get hurt. Fear not! Sorry? I've only loaded a single bullet, so no one but myself could possibly be harmed. That's not really what I meant. Good day to you then, Mr. Windibank. It's been a pleasure as always, Mr. Sholmes. Did we give back the viola? So, Mr. Naruhodo, now we can explore at last. Oh, you mean explore the shop. Okay. Game, gotta take a bit too. Game? Hello? Look at this! Look at this lovely big shiny box bee!
That, my dear madam, is a music box. Surely have such things in your own country.
Oh my, yes, but I've certainly never seen one so large before. Shall we listen a while? Ah, what sublime sound. It's like the music of angels. Never heard anything like it before in my life.
This particular specimen is in the larger variety, commonly found in public houses and restaurants. There's a metal disc on which the note inside the notes are to be played or recorded. Simply by replacing the disc with another, any music you care to imagine can be played.
My goodness, what a simply delightful machine.
Indeed, though their popularity has waned recently with the development of the gramophone, of course.
Science and technology advance at such an overwhelming pace.
Alright, what else? Take a look at this.
Oh, I suppose this rather enormous machine does. Seems to have two little windows for looking through.
Allow me to enlighten you, my dear fellows. What are you looking at is stereoscope.
A stereoscope? Fascinating.
It is aptly named, I assure you. Look through the eyepiece and see for yourself.
Oh, I should be delighted to. Excuse me while I just have a look.
Just before you do, there is something I should point out. My dear fellows, in order to see the image properly, stereoscopically as it were, you'll need to be cross-eyed. However, if that's beyond you, it is of little consequence today.
Alright then, I'm gonna try it. Ah! Mr. Naruhodo, you must see at once! Alright then. So I need to be cross-eyed, like I'm trying to look at my own nose.
What is it? It's gonna be something bad?
What the? I don't believe it. Just a photographic print, but it seems like you reach out and touch it.
Yes, set to death is startling, is it not? Stereoscopes are one of London's many fads. They're often found in little stalls in the park. People queue for hours to see them.
Why? Why are people meddling with such black magic?
It is no magic, my dear madam. It is, well, far too complicated to explain at present. We shall save this lesson for another day.
No. Oh. What is this? Look at this. What could this be used for?
I have no idea.
Ah. There's a small catch just here, look.
Gonna open it, aren't we? Ooh.
Oh my, that's amazing! Some sort of spring-loaded mechanism. Which we'll never manage to put back to the way it was before. What are you two doing?
What? Us? Nothing. No, nothing at all.
Whatever this device is, it seems to have a pair of little windows to look through. So I've seen something rather similar to that elsewhere. I wonder. Probably nothing.
Horse?
Horse is not important.
What is important? Calendar?
That's not a calendar could easily miss, is it?
15th April. Today's date. Yes, that's not in for sale, I must point out. It's an Eastern-style page-a-day calendar. Every night at midnight, I tear off the front page to reveal the following day's date. Hold on.
That's gonna come into play somehow, I know it. With the camera.
The perfect calendar for tearaway fellows such as yourself, Mr. Winterbank.
Who's walked out after you got the wrong violin before?
Well, when the agreed storage period is passed without repayment, articles are forfeited, you see. So I have to keep a close eye on the date. Something of a pawnbroker's obsession, you might say.
Oh yes, I can see you're very dedicated to your job.
Dolls. Clocks.
A scale. There's gonna be a little door hidden behind that curtain there. Oh, I was looking at the scale, but sure. That leads to the storage room, where Mr. Windermere keeps articles that are currently in pawn. I see. There's nothing of particular interest inside. I certainly wouldn't recommend any loss in this activity. Recommend it or not, it's not something I tend to do. There's but one key. Mr. Windermere keeps in his pocket at all times. Before he sleeps, he places it into a small pot, which he slides under his pillow.
How on earth did you know that, Mr. Sholmes?
Because you just told me, Fox Boy! I'm a detective, sir. It's my business to know what others do not. Frequently assailed by information I neither care for nor wish to retain. Mr. Sholmes, you're a wonder. The prime suspect this pawn burglary's ever burgled. Sign. Oh, the lamp, I guess. Or the ledger. I clicked on the sign on the counter, but it brought us to the ledger and this lamp. Look at that enormous ledger up on the counter there. Mr. Windermere is, if nothing else, very particular about recalling the items he accepts. He'd have to be, otherwise he'd get himself in all sorts of trouble. This might explain the thing that catches my eye far more than the ledger. Oh, the gun. There's a revolver here. Do not entertain even a single thought of pilfering an article herein, my dear fellow. I assure you, Mr. Windermere would not hesitate to draw that weapon with the speed belying his portly size. Oh, you don't mean he'd blow his brains out? Indeed, in recompense for his blunder. My god. Oh my. In any case, of course we'd never do such a thing. How could you even suggest it? What else? Have we done everything here? More investigating here. About what? What an assortment of things are on these shelves here. Crockery, footwear, clocks, and watches? Almost anything you care to imagine. Those are forfeited items, offered for sale by the pawnbroker. What does that really mean, though? When you pawn, or colloquially pop an item, the broker loans you money against its worth. He stores them for an agreed period of time, after which the loan must be repaid. If not, he is free to display it in his shop for sale, at a price of his choosing. Oh yes, now I've explained it, I'm noticing little price tags and everything. Of course, simply by paying the agreed interest on the loan, one can extend the period of safekeeping. So you may pawn that black garb of yours without fear, my dear fellow. My treasured university uniform never embodies my student spirit.
What? Only tuppence for it? That ain't fair, you know it. The article's barely worth a penny, miss. I can't offer more.
Uh-oh. Sounds like there's an argument brewing over by the counter. Come on, that can't be right. If you'd had a proper butcher's at it.
See all I need to see, young girl.
Oh, hey. Wait, don't we know... I'm sure I recognize her. Oh, yes, it's the young lady from Mr. McGilded's trial 2 months ago.
Her name, Jean Lestrade, my lord. She's a chancer, earns her crust among large crowds, leaving people their purses. What's commonly called a pickpocket.
My god. Gordon Bennett, you lot! Hello, Mrs. Lestrade. Hope you've been well. Eh? What, you remember me then, do you? Oh, I remember being completely surrounded by smoke, that's for sure. So, what are you doing in here? Down and out, like the rest of us? Enough for me? Come to pop that black coat, have ya? What's it about this black uniform that makes everyone comment on it? Ah, good day, unless I'm much mistaken. You'll be the young pickpocket who stole our experimental smoke grenade launcher. Mr. Sholmes! So, you have something of value to pawn, do you? Allow me to see the article, and I shall negotiate with Mr. Windermere on your behalf. Pull the other one, I don't need to out for some stuck-up D. Get out of my business, go on, I'll make trouble for you. As you wish, Miss Lestrade. I would happily remove myself from your presence. Oh. And he fades away. Peace. He's really done it, he's gone. I'm sorry, but as I said, there really is no room for negotiation here. What's that thing he has in his hand? A kind of metal disc. Oh, that's for the music box. And you, go on. Leave me alone. Oh, Mrs. Strahd, just pretend we aren't here. You shan't be offended in the slightest. This Aslan can really stand her ground when she wants to. Whatever. Okay, it's not like physically there. Somehow I didn't really think you were the sort of person who'd use a pawnbroker, Mrs. Strahd. Yeah, well I am, alright. I'm a Londoner just like everyone else. Not a problem, is it? Oh, no, not at all. Just that, well... Oh, I get it. I know what you're thinking. That thing probably don't even belong to her. Probably got on the dive, didn't she? Yeah, I can see it's written all over your Chevy Chase. Well, I might have been thinking something along those lines. You're not going to deny it, Mr. Naruhodo. Alright then, I'm just gonna come out and ask you straight. Do you pawn things that you steal from other people? Well, I don't know how best to answer that, really. Suppose. Sometimes. You're not going to deny it either, Mrs. Strahd? But not this time, alright, I swear! That thing belongs to me! Disc that Mr. Windibank is holding. Let's just see what he has to say about all this. As for the music box, he's probably saying, that's worth nothing. Mr. Windibank, how exactly is this metal disc that Mrs. Strahd's brought in? You have hundreds of tiny little bumps on its surface. Ah, this is a music disc, you see. Inside a music box. A music box? What, you don't even know what a music box is? You still not ain't too savvy, eh? I know what a music box is, I've never seen one of these discs before. A small protrusion in the metal disc can code the tune to be played by the music box. You simply insert the disc and set the machine going. The beautiful music plays. So incredible. Tell us what tune's on this disc. Well, I'm afraid I couldn't tell you that. There's so many different types of music box, you see. British-made, German, Swiss. I have no way of knowing which particular machine this disc was made for. I see. And that's it in a nutshell. I wouldn't have any customers for an item like this, even if the young lady forfeited it. Really, I'm already offering more than I should at a penny. That's a packet of lies! He told me he did. He said he was, well... He? Who? Never you mind. It ain't right, that's all. This was good money, I know it is. Well then, you have to try your luck at another pawnbroker's, won't you? Ah. Miss Lestrade. She's been in before, of course, this little tatterdemalion. I see. Brought some dubious article or other with her every single time, I might add. Dubious? What are you trying to say? I'm an honest customer, me. So, something dubious about the disc she brought in today? Yeah, it'll help evolve a Porygon 2 into a Porygon Z. Well, if only it were that simple. Sorry, what do you mean? What she actually brought in was a storage ticket. A storage ticket? So... Mrs. Strahd's actually come to redeem an article for you today, is that right? Yeah, that's right. A girl like me is a lot of stuff that one needs storing. Alright, yes, that's definitely dubious. The article in question would have been forfeited at midnight tonight, but she gave me the ticket for it and repaid both the loan and the interest. I was obliged to return the article to her. What was the article? Do tell us, Mr. Windibank. Little scamp is wearing it, ma'am. It's the overcoat that you redeemed. Oh. What? What's wrong with that? It fits, don't it? I mean, it's mine, so of course it does. So, what about the disc then? How's that coming to all this? Ah, the disc is something else. A new article to pawn. The girl and I agree if the girl and I get a prettier price. I'm confused. I said that Mrs. Strahd brought in a storage ticket today. It's really quite simple. Yes, the child brought me a storage ticket and the money owed on it, you say? For this heavy black coat, which you returned to her care, as I understood it. That's right, yes. But rather unsurprisingly, as soon as the little ragamuffin put the thing on, she went rifling through the pockets. Oh, you mean... What? Don't you know it's rude to stare at a lady? Ah, I see. So it came from the pocket of the overcoat, did it? If you mend this disc, then yes, exactly that. She immediately tried to pawn it. For quite a high price as well. It's all rather suspicious, I think. Keep it up, I'm just trying to pawn something like anyone else would. Mrs. Strahd, may I ask who deposited the overcoat here in the first place? Well, me. It doesn't really appear to be your size. Me old man. It's me old man's, ain't it? Is it, Mrs. Strahd? Yes, this is definitely all rather suspicious. Out of my way, please. Who is this? Oh my god. Who's this picture postcard English gentleman? Oh my god. Good day to you, ladies, gentlemen. What's your problem, eh? There's no problem, as long as you remove yourself. I have a matter to discuss with the proprietor. And if you intend to make a problem of it, I shall see you outside, little girl, for the hiding you deserve. Look, ain't it obvious? I ain't done talking with him yet. You think you're such a gent, you should know how to wait in line. Well, you're an impudent little brat, aren't you? As well as a pickpocket. Eh? Who are you? How do you know who I am? Oh, is it his overcoat? The question is, how do you not know who I am? You haven't the courtesy even to remember the faces of your victims, it seems. Oh. What? You mean from you? Broker. Yes, sir. I believe this filthy pocket thief has just redeemed an article from you, know? Yes, the article in question belongs to me. I demand for it to be returned at once. Oh my. Now that's a lie. What are you trying to pull? Give me back my overcoat, you wastrel. Needless to say... any music box discs, too. No, you can't have it. You just can't. It's me old man's. Oh, it was. Now it's mine. Goodness, Mr. Naruhodo. This is a very awkward situation. Yeah, I think perhaps we should hear both sides of the story in a little more detail. Okay, we can't talk to that guy anymore. Talk to Gina about the gentleman's accusation. Mrs. Strahd, so the gentleman is saying... What do you think? It's all lies, ain't it? Obviously. I swear on my life. Ain't never ate lies of that Danny before. Let's hear it now, you little ragamuffin. You stole it, didn't you? I think you brought it here just now. No, I swear to God. It was barely an hour ago. I was walking along the street, minding my own business. When this little gutterling ran into me. I knew at once what had happened. I've been robbed yet again, I thought to myself. Those wretched pickpockets. Yet again. Oh yes, as you can see, I'm a man of impeccable style. This isn't the first time I've been targeted by these backslum scoundrels. Now then, relinquish my overcoat. Come along, Mr. Strahd. Give the good gentleman his coat back. If you're going to cause trouble, I shall have no choice but to call the police. Hold on, why does everyone think it's me? Just look at this Danny Cove. I think I'm the dodgy one. I'm sorry, but no one's going to believe you. Well, but what about evidence? Yeah. Where's your evidence I've stolen something, eh? Come on, let's see it. Oh, I have evidence, naturally. You what? Uh-oh. Evidence that the article Mr. Strahd redeemed actually belongs to this gentleman. Of course! We need only consult Mr. Windibank's ledger to know the truth. We'll be able to look up the name of the person who deposited the article in the first place. Yes, brilliant. I'm very sorry, but I'm afraid that won't be possible. Oh.
Never ask customers' names. That's a strict policy of mine.
But why not?
Well now, as you can imagine, some of my customers have circumstances to consider. Great many of them prefer to maintain their anonymity.
Yes, I see. But then how can you know if an oracle belongs to the person asking to redeem it?
Oh, it's quite simple.
The cameras?
Good sir, might I trouble you for the watchword associated with the article in question, or password?
Of course, it's... Professor.
Yes, that's right. And all the evidence we need. Gentleman is the rightful owner of the article, without doubt.
A watchword? Interesting. Watchwords. It's the password! Didn't say the magic word. It's about these watchwords, Mr. Winterbank.
Just explained. I never ask customers' names when they deposit items with me. There are many reasons why. Certain customers would like to keep their activities secret.
There he is. Wasn't exactly a subtle glance at Mr. Sholmes, now was it? Great detectives have no dark secrets. None at all.
Yes, well, anyway, that's why I always ask for a watchword whenever I accept a new article. In many ways, it's like the secret combination of numbers used to unlock a vault. A date of deposit, a description, and a watchword uniquely identify each item. And of course, then I give the storage ticket to the customer. When someone comes to redeem something, ask for the ticket and the watchword.
If that someone chose the correct watchword, you return the article. Wait, then, why'd you give Lestrade the jacket if she didn't know the watchword? Why would you give the item first? Huh?
That's right, sir, yes, just as soon as the requisite fee is paid.
And I have supplied you with the information you require already. But for the avoidance of doubt, the article in question is an overcoat, deposited 2 months ago on 15th February.
With the watchword of Professor. All perfectly correct information, sir.
But how?
Really, this is beyond a joke now. There's no further room for doubt. Ugh.
Well, let's ask the gentleman who we still don't know the name of. This guy. Excuse me, but who are you?
One would expect the inquirer to introduce himself first. Though clearly you're not British, so perhaps our ways are foreign to you.
Oh, sorry. Yes, we're from the Empire of Japan. We're studying here.
Oh yes, Japan. I've heard talk of the place.
Oh my god.
Its inhabitants live on some fiery brown-colored soup, dressed up with exotic spices.
You might be thinking of somewhere else. What was that theatrical gesticulation about?
Perhaps. Anyway, if you're a gentleman, sir, you offer your own name first, before inquiring the name of another.
Of course, yes. I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I'm a lawyer. Well, student of law, really. My name is Hisato Mikotoba. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's assistant.
I see.
My name is Benedict. Yes, Eggert Benedict. God dang it. Yep, this is an Ace Attorney game, alright.
Enchanté.
So fine in how he holds himself and how he speaks, but that name is suspicious.
Now to the matter at hand.
Oh my god. Is this guy a JoJo character? I don't know anything about JoJo, but is this guy a JoJo character? I think he is. He's doing silly poses and has a dumb name.
My overcoat, return it at once.
Every move he makes, every breath he takes. Can't stand watching him. Oh, there he goes. That kind of works.
So, let there be an end to the matter. And thank you for your custom, Mr. Eggert Benedict, sir.
Oh my god, stop. At such reasonable rates of interest, may even decide to come back. This is why I hate grown-ups. Just because I'm a diver, everyone thinks that makes me a liar. And the contents of the coat pockets, if you please, broker.
But of course, sir, here's the disc for you.
Just this one?
Pardon, sir?
I was expecting another. That is, I deposited another. Another disc.
Oh dear. I regret to inform you, sir, that what was deposited with me was merely the overcoat. The disc happened to be one of the pockets, but I was completely unaware of it until now.
So, Gutterling, you're hiding more of what's rightfully mine, are you? Says who, eh? I know nothing about it. Very well. Stop your posing, and I shall bid you farewell. Say goodbye to style. Wait a minute. That disc. It's mine! Oh my god, fight. What do you think you're doing, you little... You've drawn blood, you filthy animal! Oh my, yes. There's blood on the disc. Because of all those sharp little bumps. Man must have scratched his finger on them. But he's got gloves on. I found it first, alright. I mean, it belonged to me, old man. So you're not having it. Oh, you take it. Me? If I hang onto it, they'll have it off me again. So you keep hold of it. It's Estrad, why is a disc so important to her? Interesting. You there, in the black livery. Hand that disc to me at once, please. No, don't! He's lying! Grown-ups are all liars. What do I do now? How am I gonna resolve this? Can, Mr. Sholmes help us, perhaps? Why is the game not... Let me click. Mr. Sholmes? What are you examining with such keen interest there? As you enjoy a bar of caramel, I see. Hello? So, you found me at last, Mr. Naruhodo. Sorry? After that young pickpocket sent me on my way, I was forced to lurk in the shadows. Cruelly ostracized as rescue partook in the jovial atmosphere of fellowship. I had nothing occupying my mind, but was too ashamed to let society see what my downfall had done to me. So feigning mock interest, I presented to examine the tedious trinkets of this desolate place. Whilst, as you shrewdly observed, gnawing on the only friend I have left, the 7% solution of caramel. Pray, do you claim to understand the depths of my despair, Mr. Naruhodo? But how could you? I was so lonely, so desperately lonely. Then why don't you rejoin the conversation? Things got from bad to worse here, you know. Yes, I overheard much of your conversation. Or rather, in my craving for human contact, my ears devoured every word that was uttered. You really were sad, weren't you? Poor Mr. Sholmes. I feel simply awful for you. It would seem that my inferences are correct. Oh, surely you're not about to tell us they've solved the entire case once again. My dear madam, sometimes I wonder, will my genius for deduction to be commoditized? How much could I pawn it for? I see Mr. Sholmes has had another flash of inspiration. Who knows if it'll help to resolve the situation between Miss Estrada and the mysterious gentleman. What's the right thing to do here? Let's listen to it. Well, Miss Estrada, it appears you find yourself in something of a predicament. Where the blue blazes have you been, eh? Pardon? When lays in trouble, a true gent's supposed to be there to help. Straight away! Not an hour later! Harsh. And who, pray tell, are you? Mr. Eggert Benedict? You have, in my eyes, a veritably encyclopedic array of curiosities about your person. Nevertheless, there are two immovable conclusions I have drawn. I beg your pardon. The first is this. The treasury you visited pawnbrokery today is something you have not yet revealed. And the second is this. A considerable crime is in contemplation. One you will orchestrate with intent to steal a vast sum of money. Oh. Well, Mr. Benedict, what say you to my deductions? So ironically, right now we have on screen a guy named Benedict and Sherlock Holmes. Nice. I wonder if that was intentional. There's no way it could be, right? Is that a reference? He stares white as a hard-boiled egg. Seen that once again. Mr. Sholmes made a flawless deduction.
Just who do you think you are, sir?
Ah, yes, as I hoped.
That is precisely the pained expression I was looking for.
Oh boy. So, shall we begin?
The time has come for yet another Sherlock Holmes's logic and reasoning spectacular.
Here we go. The great deduction. The game is afoot. Trial 1.
What's your aim? First of all, we must ask ourselves on what business you ventured this pawnbrokery today. You claim to have followed this pickpocket here, having had a redemption ticket stolen from you on the street. But that is most certainly a lie. The real truth is something quite different.
Hey, what's that in your hand?
It's probably not what it's for, but feels what that you hold in your hand. Yes, we brought you this shop in the first place. It's the staff recruitment flyer. The piece of paper in your hand is a staff wanted advertisement for the very shop. Yet even the most unobservant would soon realize that the man of your appearance has no need of such employ. In other words, there's some ulterior motive for your actions. The cane which you unwittingly clutched to your person exhibits an incontrovertible contradiction.
Oh, it says AG, not EB.
But on a run, I've had this cane for years. The contradiction of which I speak of is, of course, the missing ferrule.
Nope.
The end of any walking cane would be terminated with a metal ferrule to protect the wooden tip. And yet detailed analysis shows the wooden tip of the stick is yet to be utterly bare. Therefore, there's only one conclusion. The rod that you hold in your hand, which appears to be a walking cane, is in fact no cane at all. You recall, sir, something wrong?
And
in your recoiling, you inadvertently facilitate the answer to the next conundrum to present itself. Namely, what is the truth behind this rod you bear?
Yes, your reaction betrays the truth.
The handle, which you evidently would like to conceal, is the key to understanding this riddle, you see. It's not the handle. The moment I saw it, my suspicions were aroused. What walking cane demands such a stout handle? Mused I. But of course, as I said, this is no walking cane. No, that rod is the broken handle of a shovel.
What?
Are you insane? And now, having determined this undeniable truth, the conclusion is clear. Your true motive for coming here will take employment at the establishment in order to excavate the ground beneath the premises.
Didn't see that one. Yeah, good job. You did it. You did it, Sherlock Holmes. You got it. You got it.
What a calculated crime you conceived, sir. A wickedly calculated crime.
You done it.
You solved it! The tunnel underneath the pawnbrokery. Now, Mr. Benedict, let's continue. We must expose the details of Zabot's crime you have in the planning. This is utterly absurd. You suggest that I, a gentleman, intend to excavate the ground beneath its pawnbrokery with a broken shovel? What on earth do you propose I expect to find there? Some long-forgotten treasure, I suppose? Say if it's a fanciful theory, what possible risk you have to do as you say? Oh, but there is ample reason. As you're only too well aware, Mr. Benedict. Ah, and your further glance is more than I could have hoped. What? Let us consider what would motivate a man to infiltrate a shop such as this and covertly dig beneath its floor. The answer is revealed by the council notice on the counter to which your eyes are inadvertently drawn. So it gives notice of public works to be carried out in the local area. And according to the enclosed plan of the upcoming sewerage works, beneath this shop runs a sewer that joins another, one that runs beneath the bank on the opposite side of the road.
This man has entered the sewers now, has it? By excavating the ground beneath our feet, we gain access to the waterway. That flows in very close proximity to the Great Vault of the financial institution opposite. What are you... In summary, sir, you devised a master plan to pull off an elaborate bank robbery by dint of the underground tunnels. Master plan? Which brings us to the final chapter of the lurid scheme. With what plunder did the thief hope to make off from the underground vault to the bank? Are you quite serious? Having consulted Scotland Yard some days ago, I happen to know the answer. But naturally, the answer is no secret to you, is it, Mr. Benedict? I have no idea what you're talking about. Allow me to present a rather interesting piece of evidence. You see, this picture postcard tells us all we need to know. Postcard of the Great Exhibition. I'm afraid you've quite lost me. Currently in the final stage of preparation, the Great Exhibition will soon be underway, and the government's provided extra funds to complete its centerpiece, the Crystal Tower. Funds are currently set in the vault of the bank, on the other side of this road. Pardon? Yes, the considerable crime you've been contemplating is a theft of that which sits in the vault of that bank. The special reserve funds for the Great Exhibition. Of course, that's top secret police information, so keep it under your hat, please. Why would you... Never mind. Alright. This concludes Sherlock Holmes' great deduction of the pawnbroking puzzle. You've done it. You cracked the code. Yeah. Mr. Holmes. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, an impressively upbeat deduction for Detective Active Loneliness, would you not agree? Was it true we say about the bank over the road and what has in its vault? Indeed, though few know of his existence, it's one of the government's most closely guarded secrets. Gregson told me, in the strictest confidence. But he just announced it to everyone here. Rather loudly, in fact. Ah, it was such a big secret. How did Mr. Benedict have come to find out about it? There could be but one explanation for that. Clearly it's because the man is a criminal. What if he didn't know anything about the money in the vault? If he is a criminal, as he said, then buying a brand new shovel is sure to be the first thing he does now that you've revealed the secret. Oh, or if he doesn't, maybe Mr. Windibank will. He already has plenty of shovels here, after all. Oh my life! I assure you I'm not so unscrupulous. Well, hopefully this has taught you a valuable lesson. Sensitive information must be handled with the utmost of care. Hope you learn the lesson. We can never be sure that anyone privy to secrets won't disclose them. Once the word is out, it's out. Perhaps I'll think twice for confiding in you next time, Mr. Holmes. An excellent idea, Miss Naruhodo. An excellent idea. Well then, Mr. Naruhodo, you know what to do, I'm sure. Yeah, let's listen to that great deduction again. See if we can massage it into shape. Interesting verb to use there. Very well then, let's start once more from the beginning. Sherlock Holmes is magnificent, logic and reasoning spectacular. Alright. Let's course correct this. Nope. What is it? So Mr. Sholmes' reasoning. Mr. Benedict came here in order to apply for a job so he could dig down through the floor. Yes, and attempt to tunnel into the sewers to get access to the money in the vault of the bank across the road. But he wouldn't get very far with a broken shovel, would he? No, I think it's fair to say his motives lie elsewhere. The question is, where? I wanted to bring Mr. Benedict here at this particular point in time. Oh! Hey, is that a little drawing of Lestrade? Look at her! Oh, look at all the scribbled notes on the back of the flyer here. don't believe it. What is it? Listen to what it says. Name, Gina Lestrade. Height, 5'2". Green cap, scruffy waistcoat, grubby white shirt, blue satchel, ragged. It's a detailed description of Miss Lestrade. Goodness. She gave a sketch of her hat and all. It looks adorable. Although if we show it to her, she'd fire that smoke grenade launcher in his face for sure. And look, the details of the shop have been written down here too. Window-Bake's Pawnbrokery, Baker Street. Redemption deadline 15th April, which is today's date. Not Mr. Bendick have all that information scrawled on the back of that piece of paper. Info about Miss Lestrade. Suspicious writing on the back of a suspicious flyer in the hands of a suspicious gentleman. I didn't think there was anything suspicious about the flyer, Mrs. Naruhodo. But yes, Miss Lestrade's name and height and a description of the clothes she's wearing. Not to mention the sketch of her likeness, so I'm fairly sure she wouldn't take lightly. And today's date, too. Redemption deadline, 15th April. We can't let this go, can we? It's far too suspicious.
Take that!
Okay, I have to press the button. I have to press the key for it since it doesn't show the... Yeah. Yeah, so what brought you to this shop is the first place, that info about Miss Lestrade. Quite so, my dear fellow. Prepare the writing and sketch of the reverse of the flyer. Pertain to the pickpocket, Miss Lestrade, and Mr. Winterbake's pawnbrokery here. Ah. You originally told us they had merely given chase after Miss Lestrade stole the redemption ticket from you. But that, sir, is a thinly veiled lie. It's the information on the back of the flyer that led you here today, by which I mean... Here, to Winterbake's Pawnbrokery, and today the redemption deadline of that overcoat. So you waited outside for the young girl matching the description you've written down to arrive. And you have gone to some lengths to hide the reason for your pursuit of Mrs. Straw. In other words, there's some ulterior motive for your actions. Okay, here we go. A.K.A. is not his name. What's a ferrule? It's a metal cap commonly found at the end of a cane, Mr. Naruhodo. And a bit that makes a nice clacking sound on the pavement. Yes, exactly. Mr. Sholmes is right. It appears to be missing on this cane. It doesn't actually look broken, does it? No, it doesn't. The gentleman certainly did recoil when Mr. Sholmes identified the cane as suspicious. In other words, there's some secret about the cane that Mr. Bendick would rather we don't know. Well, I think we're looking... Yeah, there's nothing else about the cane, so I think we're looking right at it before. Initialing. A.G. Look here, Mrs. Sato. There's some letters on the handle. Ah, yes, those must be initials, I think. In the West, it's customary for people to engrave their belongings with the first letters of their names. So Herlock Sholmes would be H.S., you mean? That's right. The initials on this cane, obviously. Oh. A.G. Why does it feel as though that's not quite right? Yeah, Eggs Benedict.
Take that!
Contradiction of which I speak is, of course, the initialing. A most astute observation, wouldn't you say, Mr. Egbert Benedict? We are led to believe, sir, your initials are E.B. Yet in a most possessive manner, you have in your grasp a cane bearing the initials A.G. An incontrovertible contradiction indeed, would you not agree? No, you're wrong. This cane isn't... Said before, you had that cane for years. So don't try to tell us you just borrowed it from a friend or found it in the park. In short, though you hold yourself to be a gentleman, you've withheld your true name. You recoil, sir. Something wrong? And if you're recoiling, you inadvertently facilitate the answer to the next conundrum to present itself. Namely, what is the truth behind this rod you bear? It's not the handle. It's something else. Let's consider the bare bones of what's happened here. Miss Lestrade redeemed the fine-looking overcoat. Now a mysterious man's appeared, introducing himself with a fake name, claiming that the overcoat belongs to him. But we know that he actually identified Mr. Strahd from a written description. It suggests that everything else he's told us is untrue. So what we need to do here is somehow prove that the overcoat cannot possibly belong to him. Oh! It doesn't fit him! Oh! The seam in the shoulder there is coming apart, look! So it is. You know, a moment ago, Mr. Benedict was surprised by something I was said. I thought I heard him make a rather strange noise. It sounded a bit like a tiny growl. But now I think it's probably the sound of the seam ripping open. Look closely, it does seem a very tight fit. The sleeves are stretched to bursting, and he wouldn't have a hope of fastening it at the front. If he were to run around it, I'm sure the whole thing would fall apart. That I'd like to see. Sorry. So how can we make Mr. Benedict run around? He's really giving this some thought.
Take that!
The split seam, which you evidently would like to conceal, is the key to understanding this riddle, you see. Ah. Yes, because the overcoat is rather obviously a poor fit. Having forced it over your broad shoulders, the seam is already breaking apart. My suspicions were aroused from the outset. When he so boldly lied about your name and so boldly waylaid this pickpocket. Ah. This catalogue of untruths has all been for one very specific purpose. To steal the article that the young girl redeemed from Mr. Winterbank. Oh my god. What really irks me is this. The considerable crime I initially imagined has been considerably curtailed. Yeah, he doesn't want to tunnel under the bank. But, something else. Now, Mr. Beck, let's continue. For we must expose the details of this elaborate crime. Oh. Have you forgotten I've deemed the article in the proper manner using the watchword? Had it not been the one to deposit it in the first place, how would I possibly know the relevant details? N'est-ce pas? Oh, but the watchword can be discovered. As you're only too well aware, Mr. Benedict. Ah, your furtive glance is more telling than I could have hoped. Let's consider how one might come to learn a secret watchword linked upon property of another. The method is revealed by the counselors on the counter. It's the ledger, probably. The direction of the deduction might change rather dramatically now, I think. Yeah, no more talk of tunneling into the sewers. It's a pity, because it all sounded rather exciting. Anyway, can't deny this mysterious gentleman did know the watchword. Yeah, Professor. If you didn't know that word, Mr. Winterbank would never allow you to redeem the article. Or, looking at another way, if you did know that word, Mr. Winterbank would allow you to redeem the article whether it was yours or not. The question is, could this gentleman have found the watchword out somehow? Well, the ledger probably has them in it. Who? The doll! The doll knows it. Oh, or what about this? What's that say? Look at this, Mr. Sato. It appears to be a memo that Mr. Winterbank has scribbled to himself. Let's see. What does it say? Oh, Professor! Mr. Winterbank must make a note of the watchwords his customers give him right before their eyes. An alarmingly clear script as well. Oh dear, I don't know where to look. Who knows what other secrets I might see? Hold on, what's this though? That's a picture of a cat. I want to zoom in on that though. Yeah, just
Take that!
This method is revealed by the note little encounter to which your eyes are inadvertently drawn. Yes, the broker here follows the same procedure whenever a customer comes to redeem an article. Yes, the customer for the watchword, and notes down the response on a notelet he has to hand. Then he consults his ledger, confirms whether or not the watchword matches that of the article in question. I would expect nothing more of a diligent pawnbroker, but his diligence clearly has disadvantages. What are you talking about? It is increasingly apparent that you were present in this shop before your accusation against Mr. Strad. In all likelihood, your father inside and observed her talking to Mr. Windibank. A diligent broker made a note of the watchword, as is common practice. He observed him writing the word professor on the notelet beside the ledger. And that, sir, was the master plan he devised to steal the pawned article from the young Miss Lestrade. Master plan? Bring us to at last to the final chapter of this lurid scheme. Why would you go to such lengths to redeem that particular article from this pawnbroker? Are you quite serious? For an ill-fitting overcoat hardly seems to justify the effort, much less a worthless music box disc. But naturally, you had very good reason to make them yours, didn't you, Mr. Benedict? I have no idea what you're talking about. Allow me to present a rather interesting piece of evidence. You see, this picture postcard tells us all we need to know. No, it doesn't. The article was talking about are the overcoat and the music box disc that was in one of the pockets. According to Mr. Windibank, isn't even worth a penny. Yet this man went to such lengths to steal them. Why? What if perhaps we already have the evidence we need to explain, Mr. Naruhodo? Could we? Really? I have a thorough look through all the evidence we've collected so far. My armband! Examine it. Mr. McGilded! Oh! Oh? Oh, there's a little scrap of paper stuck on the reverse side of the disc. Look! And scribbled a word or two. Looks like somebody's name. For McGilded. McGilded? It couldn't be. But it is, Mr. Naruhodo. A name I shall never forget, for as long as I live. But why? Why is his name on this? And why did Benedict say there were two?
Take that!
You see, this music box disc tells us all we need to know. What's that on the back? It reads from McGilded. Mr. Magnus McGilded, the unfortunate philanthropist who perished in curious circumstances of the Old Bailey 2 months ago. Prominent man in London, those loan-mongering demonstrated a distinct lack of scruples. So, you're an associate of his, are you? Perhaps a subordinate. Mr. McGill was a man of unusually small stature. In fact, he's precisely the right size for that overcoat that you squeezed yourself into. Ugh. Your true identity remains shrouded in mystery, Mr. Egbert Benedict, but the final conclusion here is crystal clear. The reason you came to this pawnbrokery today is... was retrieved an article left behind by the late Magnus McGilded. We done it. Case closed. Game's over. We did it. Deduction complete. Elementary. Well, well, Mr. Magnus McGilded. Not a name I expected to hear in these circumstances. Mr. Sholmes, I'm afraid there's something very troubling on my mind. Pray tell, Mr. Sato. Well, according to what Mr. Windibank told us earlier, today was the final day in which the coat could have been redeemed, was it not? Yes, ma'am, that's correct. Today would be precisely 2 months since it was first deposited. Well, today is 15th April, so 2 months ago today would have been 15th February, sir. That's right. It's all carefully recorded in my ledger. Deposited at 10:30 p.m., I see. What? But that suggests he was already dead. Yes, 15th February. It's precisely the day in which the omnibus motor took place. At 10:30 in the evening, it's precisely the time in which the terrible events were unfolding.
Oh. Suggestive is not the word. It would seem the matter is entirely beyond coincidence. Did you do it all? You are, of course, at liberty to make whatever outlandish deductions you choose. However... Oh god. I must insist you hand over the music box disc now. Is that the shop owner's gun you stole? It'd be terrible to return to a native land in a box. What do I do? No. Some things a man must protect at all costs. This may well be one of those things. And again, may not.
Hold it!
Hold it!
Oh, he's going. Mr. Winterbank.
This is my shop. Can't allow any harm to come to my customers. If that were to happen, I should have to take my own life.
Mr. Winterbank, no!
Alright, that's enough.
Oh, hey. Inspector Gregson. Inspector.
That's right, Sunshine. The alarm was raised on one of our dedicated emergency lines. So we got here as fast as we could. Now, what's all this about, eh? Oh, praise be. You're here at last. I was moments away from forfeiting my own life in my very own establishment.
It would seem you have the upper hand.
Lock 'em up, boys. Right, you'll have some explaining to do. I don't appreciate being bothered with some petty argy-bargy.
Petty? Mr. Winterbank very nearly met with his end.
Yeah, by his own gun as far as I can tell. Oh dear. And the whole of Britain could be with its end. If I don't get to the bottom of the case I'm supposed to be working on.
What on earth is the case, Inspector?
Spare no detail, Gregson. I might have said a little too much. No matter, it's nothing to do with you lot. Anyway, sir, you're gonna have to come with me down to the station.
But of course, Inspector.
Oh, he's running. He's getting away. Get after him, lads. Whistle the beat officer, too. Sir.
Oh my god, he booked it. Who the heck was that guy?
There's been a spate of thefts at pawn shops around here recently. So fitted emergency buttons underneath the counters for brokers to let us know when there's trouble.
Oh, Inspector, I was very worried there for a while. Very worried indeed.
Now then, Mr. Permanently in mourning.
Oh, yes?
I'll be taking that 1-7 McGilda down to the yard, thank you very much. So hand it over.
Oh, yes, of course. No, don't. Don't give it to him. It's mine, that is. Mine.
I'm sorry, miss. But anything belonging to McGill, it has to be taken as evidence now.
As evidence? If the police demand something as evidence, my dear fellow, we have no choice but to capitulate. It's all yours, Inspector.
Grr.
So we handed Mr. McGilda's disco to Inspector Gregson. We're summarily turfed out of the shop and on the streets. Is this a save? Yep, it is. And we're gonna end the stream here too, I think. So, assuming that this rest of the game doesn't go super long, I'll try to finish Chapter 5 next stream. But that is gonna do it for today. Thank you all for coming by. Let me get music going. Okay. Yeah, thank you for stopping by. Appreciate it. Had a lot of fun as always on these. And, yeah, try to stream again soon. Don't have a real schedule or anything, so just, I have a button. Push button. Sure, follow my social media stuff for, like, updates when I'm gonna stream, because, you know, just don't have a schedule. Never have. My 13 and a half years of doing this stuff, never once had a schedule. It'd probably help if I did, but we'll see. We'll see. Maybe if I get to this full time, I'll make a schedule. But no, it's still just a hobby all these years. Haven't gotten big enough yet. But yep, I'll do it. Yeah, so stay tuned for next time. Try to do it soon. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. I'll see you guys next time. Bye, everybody.